Sit down. Everybody remain seated where you are.
Hey, man, so you put me on?
Yeah.
Then why isn't alcohol made illegal? Flowers and grass. Like juice freaks get. Hangers and cirrhosis in the liver. Besides, grass doesn't have it for me like alcohol. Besides, that cigarette much worse. Right, man. As much as you want.
Have a party. There's nothing wrong with grass. Yeah. 1,000 times. You'll never go to Harder Drive.
Don't take any films of me. You're not going to use them anyway.
Well, speak your mind then.
Okay, I will. No one has the right to tell me what I can do with my own body, what I can eat, drink, or smoke. This is a free country, and no one has the right to take away my constitutional rights.
It's the Hoosier Sophisticate Show. Question all the things that you know. Steve likes the weed. Steve likes the weed. Tell you about DMT. The DMT. Hoosier Sophisticate Show. The Hoosier Sophisticate Show. Hoosiers with the drink. Sophisticated blasphemy. It's the Hoosier Sophisticate Show. Question all the things that you know. So let's set our minds free for the singularity. It's the Hoosier Sophisticate Show. The Hoosier Sophisticate Show.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, non-binary, sentient, artificial intelligence, flora and fauna alike, to the brand new, shiny Hoosier Sophisticate Show.
Where are we?
Where are we, bud? Oh, buddy,
we're in
Steve-o.
nature.
Steve-o, what a week.
We're in nature. I'm still just glowing. I'm grinning from ear to ear. I had one of the coolest moments I've ever had in my life this week. We keep stringing these moments together with everybody. With every one of you freaks out there, we have strung some beautiful moments together. Hoosier Prom, is that what you're talking about? Because we're going to get into that a little bit later, but holy shit, bud.
I know. I feel like...
holy shit, bud.
I feel like even when I have set a high bar, you know, for expectations, we continue... And it's because of the great people that make up this community.
1,000,000%.
But it just continuously exceed expectations. Continuously, bud.
And I had to soak it in a few times. Over the course of the night, I just looked at everything and kind of scanned it and saw the joy on people's faces. And I'm going to say, my favorite thing is seeing people come out of their shell.
No doubt.
Or Matt, he's one of the guys. They come to our party. They are standing there. I've never seen them before in their lives. They're kind of standing by a group, kind of like, and you're like, "Hey, man, what's your name? Where are you? Who you from? Who you from? And where are you?
Who you from and where are you?" Guy?
And we instant friends. By the end of the night, he's trimmed down to a black Bruce Lee.
Sleeves are rolled up.
Yeah, man, he looks like Bruce Lee out there throwing Rana. Some of them are right almost in the frog's mouth. The rest of them are going 8 foot over the. I don't know what was going on. He was right on it, or it was 8 foot off. I don't know what's happening.
No doubt.
But seeing that person morph into a friend from a stranger at the beginning of the night, who might feel like, oh, what am I doing here? I have social anxiety. I don't want to go out with people. Steve's gonna be there, and he's so cool and sexy, and like, oh man, what if you know? Like, I get it.
I get
when people,
totally.
So to see people get comfortable with us,
it's great.
It's God, it's so good. It's so good. So we're gonna get into that. We have the washer tourney coming up. That's
September
another
26th. I hope that everybody that went to prom, they now have it. They definitely have it circled on their calendar now.
Yeah, you do.
It's going to be another opportunity
Circle it right
for
now.
all of us to come
Say the
together,
date.
share some love, share some laughs, and raise a ton of money.
Say the date again.
Which September 26th.
They're going to circle it. They're going to say it on circle it.
September 26th.
Circle it.
We're going to raise a bunch of money for Aubrey Matthews, 3-year-old girl, brain cancer, kicking brain cancer's ass, by the way.
And we're going to get into that on Cannabis News in a little bit, too, how cannabis and cancer can exist together and why we need the doctors. It's a weird way to put it, but why we need doctors to be able to utilize cannabis as a medicine, because we're seeing some amazing things.
No doubt.
With tumors melting.
No doubt.
Melting has like a different meaning for me now, hearing that.
The doctors said they can't believe it. And it feels like, Steve, whenever we hear about these doctors who can't really openly talk about cannabis being used in a cancer protocol, that's kind of a trend that is repeating, where they're like, we can't explain it.
Can't talk about it.
We could have never
that.
guessed that it was going to react this way. Like, really? Like,
I'm going to break it down on Cannabis News. We're going to hit that up in about 10, 15 minutes. We're going to hit you with some Cannabis News. Stick around.
Okay. That's right. Okay. What else are we going to talk about tonight?
God bless America. We lost a fucking
2 St. Louis officers.
Yeah, man.
2 St. Louis police officers.
No, one died.
The other one passed away this morning.
No.
Yeah.
One who got shot in the leg?
One of them, I saw it passed away from complications. I thought it was, I could be wrong. I was under the impression. Okay, I'm sorry.
I think. Yeah.
Somebody come with better information.
Yeah, I don't know what this guy's
Where's our news
Yeah,
guys?
somebody look that up for us. We look like a couple of we got just jackets on over here. Come on. We look. But not. I mean, it's fucking horrible. And what we try to do at Prom is counteract some of the evil that's going on in the world, or evil. I don't know what to call it. That seems too simplistic. Just some of the dark shit that happens in our world. We want to spread as much love as we can. Brian Kessler, a firefighter from our home from Maplewood, but our home little South City community. We rode bikes for backstoppers, and it really immediately puts a meaning to it. And Brian had a post saying, I was hoping this wouldn't happen so soon after we did the bike ride, which it's up on Fundly. You can still donate. But man, it hits you in the gut. But this is why we do this. We want to end the war on drugs. We want to try to make everyone's lives a little better, as fucking cliche as that can. It's our idea to try to make police, first responders, everybody's life, people who are grow up in poverty. Like, can we raise everybody up? Yeah, I'm gonna try. I don't think I can really. That's where everybody else comes in play, though.
No doubt.
Being around this community and seeing the people who they're inspired by some of the dumb shit we do. And then they go and do inspirational shit that I'm inspired by and other people are inspired by. And that ripple goes on and on and on. That's the fucking jam. We have that going on, so you can still donate to that. We got Cannabis News, Psychedelic News. We're also going to talk about, this leads into what we were just talking about, the internet fighting, internet debating,
little campfire
internet arguing. Yeah, we're going to sit around the campfire. We're going to have a chat with you guys about, I found some interesting articles about internet debating. I don't know what to call it. Internet exchanges.
Internet shit slinging.
100%, man. And I remember reading an article about road rage, where it's like you're feeling like you're disassociated from it. So, and it has kind of, it'll pull into that. So we got some value for you tonight, guys.
Hey, Steve.
What?
What do a Sega Genesis game, the movie Altered States, the founder of the Mayo Clinic, and the Marine Mammal Protection Act of 1972 have in common?
They all, they're all. I'm
glad you asked.
I don't know.
John Cunningham Lilly was born to a wealthy family, January 6, 1915, St. Paul, Minnesota. His father, Richard Coyle Lilly, president of the First National Bank of St. Paul. His mother, Rachel Lenore Cunningham, her family owned a bunch of stockyards. Okay. Despite his father's wishes for him to go to an Eastern Ivy League college and become a banker like his old man, Lilly accepted a scholarship at the California Institute of Technology to study science. He enrolled in 1933. Began studying physics under notable scientists Robert Andrews Millikan, Paul Dirac, Carl David Anderson. Old Millsy.
Dang, Millsy.
And Lilly was a member of Blacker House there. After his first year, Caltech administration learned that he was from a wealthy family, stripped all of his scholarship money away. That's all right, because old Pop said, oh, yeah?
You going to do that?
Oh, you think so, bud? Okay, well, how about I give you, like, all the money, and you just not worry about where my son comes from?
Okay.
Okay.
So his dad gave the school the money?
Yeah, his dad drew on his family. He drew on his family's wealth as a means to fund his scientific pursuits throughout the course of his life.
So this guy's kind of like a mad scientist in his...
A little bit. He's really bright dude.
And his dad's funding all of his old science experiments.
Just doling out the cash.
I can do that.
In 1934, John Lilly reads Aldous Huxley's Brave New World.
It's a great book.
Okay. Reading about the pharmacological methods of Huxley's dystopia and the links between physical chemical processes of the brain and subjective experiences of the mind helped inspire Lilly to give up his study of physics and pursue biology.
I don't know why you're looking at this. You just have pictures of butts.
Yeah, I know. Well, I like to throw a little bit of interference, man.
There's buttholes on there.
That's true. At the beginning of his junior year at Caltech, just before marrying his first wife, took a job as a lumberjack. Okay? Decided to go up northwest. He was trying to escape the nerve. No, not at all. He was trying to escape what they called at the time the nervous exhaustion brought on by the pressures of academia and his upcoming wedding. He's clearing some brush.
Back then.
He's clearing some brush out there. He buries an axe in his foot. Okay? Like all fucking real men do.
You haven't buried your foot with an axe?
Yeah. That actually, sidebar, that actually happened to a kid at Boy Scout camp one time. Cleaved his big toe right in half. Yes, he did. Yeah, Brian Freezy, shout out to you, bud. Yeah, we had to rush him to the hospital. It was a whole thing.
He's a man.
But it sent him to the trauma ward.
Terrible balance.
And it altered the course of his studies. And he decided he didn't want to be a physicist anymore. He wanted to be a doctor of medicine. Okay. Looking for a good connected medical school in 1937, his dad sets up a meeting with his friend, Charles Horace Mayo. Maybe you know the name Mayo when it comes to
Mayo
medicine,
Clinic.
okay? Yeah, one of the founders of the Mayo Clinic. Lilly applied and was accepted to the medical college at Dartmouth, and was a phenomenal student. Okay. At Dartmouth. At Dartmouth, he launched into the study of anatomy, performed dissections on 32 cadavers.
That's when you can still get weird with that
It
shit.
was real concerning to a professor who happened to be walking past the halls, and he had an entire intestinal tract drug out along the classroom.
Wow.
He wanted to know how long it was.
Why not?
There's a lot of bad info out there.
Yeah, they can go around the moon.
Yeah, around the moon with your intestines. So he's got just innards stretched out across the classroom. People
It
are like,
filled the entire room. He's like, they're right. They're right.
I can't breathe. Just exploded on him. During the summer following his first year at Dartmouth, Lilly returned to Pasadena to participate in an experiment with his former biochemistry professor at Caltech. The purpose of the experiment was to study the creation of glycosamine, a major source of muscle power in the human body. Ultimately, what ended up happening, pretty similar to what I'm going through now with my juicing, okay? Just like I'm doing pretty much
your
the same
Barry
thing.
Bonds.
Yeah, pretty much the same thing. He went on a completely protein-free diet, okay, while administering measured doses of glycine and arginine, the two amino acids that Borsuk hypothesized were involved in the creation of glycosamine.
You kind of just skimmed over that word.
Yeah. Well, Borsuk's a name. So the results of the experiment, he got weak and he went delirious. This went on for weeks. Like he went crazy in his mind, not eating any protein, okay?
Yes.
But
does that mean no cum?
it got... You cannot eat any cum. Very high in protein. You would never make it.
I'll never do that.
You would
diet.
never make it. This was the very
for
first.
Seth over there.
This was the very first medical paper that he was published on, being a part of it. Okay, this is in 1937. After 2 years at Dartmouth, Lilly decided he wanted to pursue a career in medical research rather than therapeutic practice. And pretty much, if you went to Dartmouth to be a doctor, you got that all jacked up, don't you? You got that all jacked up, boy. Pretty much, if you went to Dartmouth to be a doctor, you were going to be like practicing physical medicine. Okay. So he decides to transfer to the medical school at Penn, University of Pennsylvania. Provides him a few better opportunities to conduct some research. At the University of Pennsylvania, Lilly meets a professor called H. Cuthbert Bassett, protege of British physiologist J.B.S. Haldane.
Type in 900.
Got that? All right. Okay. And Bassett introduced Lilly to Haldane's view that a scientist should never conduct an experiment or a procedure on another person that they had not first conducted on themselves. So this kind of changes the way that Lilly is now going to
How
deal
old's
with
Lilly at this point?
experimentation. This is the 30s, so he's in his 20s.
He's still young.
He's in
Still
his
a young
20s
buck.
at this point. Bassett takes a liking to him right out the gate, sets him up with his own research laboratory. And while he was with them, he comes up with his first medical invention, which is like it's a electric blood pressure monitor that we probably all use a lot in medicine now. So the guy's pretty bright. He's leaning on some electrical engineering guys around, and he develops this tool. Okay. While finishing his degree at Penn, Lilly enrolls in a class entitled "How to Build an Atomic Bomb." He and several other students transcribe their notes from the class into a book with the same title. The director of the Manhattan Project, General Leslie Groves, attempts to suppress the publication.
That guy's a fucking
This
nut.
is before we have dropped a bomb. Okay?
Oh yeah, I know.
This is
Leslie
while the
Groves was like, drop some more of them.
This
baby.
is
Let's
while the
fucking do this
Manhattan
shit.
Project is going on. But because they didn't take any of the information from the Manhattan Project and publish it, the courts blocked it. They allowed this book to be made.
Holy shit.
Okay. So he's a physician and now a psychoanalyst. He makes contributions in the field of biophysics, neurophysiology, electronics, computer science, neuroanatomy. And in the 50s, he decides there's a way that, well, first off, I'll run it back a little bit. He's also the first person to stick electrodes in a primate's brain.
Damn right he
and
is.
start measuring brain waves and things like that. People are like, I'm not sure how ethical that is. Doesn't matter. He's going to do it. From there, he's wondering if he can turn on different regions or turn off different, sensory output. He comes up with a little system he calls REST, which ultimately leads us to something that's gotten very popular in the last 10 years, the sensory deprivation tank.
We've been
Okay.
Been
So
there, done that.
his eclectic career began as a conventional scientist doing research for universities and government. Gradually, though, he begins researching unconventional topics. He publishes 19 books. He's had 2 Hollywood movies based on his work, and developed more and more theories for flotation. Probably his most famous book, The Center of the Cyclone, just describes his own LSD experiences. Okay. And then,
what year is this?
And this
He's
is
getting LSD.
At this point, he is one of just a handful of scientists that we've mentioned on the show that the government allows to work with LSD.
Is it Hoffman?
Yeah, so you've got and actually and also your Harvard guys. So when Leary and Ramdas and all these guys are working, Lilly is also a guy that is allowed to research with LSD.
What the shit is going on?
Okay.
What is going on with these guys? Our government was playing a little loose back then. That was good. We need more of that shit.
So
going
running
on.
it back a little bit, in 1949, Lily's walking on the beach in Massachusetts. He
is.
encounters a beached whale. And he is like, he's looking at the size of this whale, and he's
gonna
like,
pull out an intestine.
he's like, this thing has to have a massive brain. And at the time, there's a correlation between brain size and brain function. So he's thinking, it's got to be a genius.
Sure.
This whale's got to be a genius. For years, he and his wife, they would charter sailboats in the Caribbean. They'd look for big brain marine mammals. On one
He's
of these,
like, look at its brain, but look at its.
So for years, he and his wife, they're chartering sailboats. They're looking for big brain marine animals.
You're damn
they
right.
discovered Marine Studios in Miami, which is the first place to keep bottlenose dolphins in captivity. Okay.
What?
And so from there,
You can blame him for SeaWorld, kind of.
well, not him. He didn't start it. He just stumbled upon the joint. Okay.
Oh, okay.
So he starts talking to the people running it. He's got some interest with he wants to use kind of crossover some of his experiments that he did on the rhesus monkeys with the brain electrodes. He wants to start tapping into the big brains of these marine mammals. For the first time, Lilly had the chance to study the brains of live dolphins, mapping their cerebral cortex using fine probes, which he developed in his work with the rhesus monkeys. Unable to sedate dolphins, though, it made it a little bit tougher. So we breathe as an unconscious function. Every breath that a dolphin or a whale takes is a conscious breath.
Are they drinking air?
Are they drinking air?
dolphins.
No, I think that's what the blowholes for. They
Can't-
come up.
I know, but like we'd have to drink water, and we live in air. Dolphins live in water.
Something to ponder.
Drink air.
We should probably get a marine biologist on the show to answer that.
We'll answer that at the end of the show.
So the brain mapping work wasn't easy for animals or scientists, and the research didn't always end well for the marine mammals, as you can imagine.
Oh, no. What, they like shot them? Because
On one occasion, though, in
What does that even
1957,
mean?
the research would take a different course, which would change his and Mary's lives forever. Shortly after, there was a secret laboratory that was developed in St. Thomas in the Virgin Islands. And it was created to study dolphins.
Just a place in paradise to fucking study dolphins in the 40s.
That's pretty much the deal.
But
So he ends up having he creates this place, and there is a gal. I'm sorry, I just lost it. It wasn't on my sheet.
dude, all you
I
have
know.
is close-ups of
buttholes.
buttholes
I'm
on there. Why? Like, I don't even know why. You're looking up more.
Yes,
I don't know why
I
you're
get
looking
more
up more.
dolphins.
You're image searching.
So
He's on Bing.
there's
Image searching.
Bing is just not really working. This is where things start to get pretty fun. So there's so there's a gal. Her name is Margaret Lavatt. And she becomes a part of this NASA-funded project to study dolphins.
NASA.
Yeah. Well, this will all tie in. So she ends up going to this secret laboratory. They have a house down there. It's like a 3-story house. And they decide that they're going to plaster up all of the walls and submerge this entire laboratory. And one of the floors is going to be just like the top floor is going to be waist high with water, so that this gal can live with the dolphins in the water around the clock. She has like a bed on an elevator. She, it stays up out of the water. But other than that, like her desk hangs from the ceiling. She records all of this information with the dolphins and everything.
Stuff.
Pretty typical stuff. Real easy stuff.
My uncle lived with a goldfish. Did the same thing.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah,
One little goldfish.
There's three dolphins there: Peter, Pamela, and Sissy. Okay, two gals, one boy.
Okay.
And so this shit gets so crazy. So they decide that Peter is going to kind of live with her in the upstairs deal, and then what they end up doing is they're transferring him down to kind of be with the female dolphins in the lower levels. But for the most part, he's staying up there, and she is tracking his everything. She's just keeping notes on this guy.
On this dolphin guy.
Yeah. So while this is going on, one of the dolphins had been abused. It was actually really, really close with humans. And what happened is like dolphins used to be, they were known as herring hogs or something like that. And so
Is this the storyline of the movie Dolphin Tale?
I don't know. No? That's the one movie
The
that
Disney
wasn't based
Dolphin
about
Tale?
dolphins
Okay.
going on here.
Sorry, I thought that was.
So
Tale.
this one particular dolphin was really friendly with humans. Some fishermen, when it was out in the wild, shot it 3 times through the tail with like a harpoon or something. Dolphins at the time, like the commercial fishing business was. It was big business.
You're gonna shoot a dolphin,
and these dolphins are fucking it up. So they're looking at dolphins are like how we look at fucking Asian carp in the rivers now. They're just a total
Nuisance.
Nuisance to
You
the
ever
area.
eaten dolphin though?
Medium rare, bud.
Medium rare dolphin.
So, so here you go. They were herring hogs. Is exactly what they called them. They were fucking up the commercial fishing industry. So
Dolphins will actually masturbate. They're 100% Hoosier.
well, that's not 100%. Yeah, that's not wrong. Whoever said that, good. You get Tiffany. You get bonus points because we are getting to that. Lily at this point has been invited to the producer of the show Flipper.
Of course he has.
Turns him on to this producer turns him on. He's the one that turned him on to LSD, and then from there he went on to get to
So
get
this
his
producer had some.
Yeah, this is like before. Yeah, he and his wife go over there. He finds out about it.
How's that
and
guy
from
get?
there-
How's the producer of Flipper
Hollywood, baby?
getting acid?
Right
before-
now, there's a professor somewhere that's doing adrenochrome. Okay, he's studying adrenochrome right now.
Probably
because he got the
dolphinochrome.
hookup
Dolphinochrome.
in Hollywood. Okay,
You ever had dolphinochrome?
I have not.
From a baby dolphin.
So Lily
delicious.
decides that he is going
Makes your
to
brain work good.
this one dolphin that was always just really skittish. It would stay away from the humans after this encounter after being shot.
God, it knew.
So at first Lily's like doing LSD himself. He is certain that he's going to be able to communicate with them in some way. This is now going to be his life's work. He's going to figure out how to teach dolphins English.
Is he realizing how smart they are?
So what happened was when
Like the whale, did he figure out that the whale brain doesn't mean big is better?
Eventually the research kind of
Yeah.
things take a little bit of a turn. So what happens is when they first go to this place, he and his wife, he's talking to this guy about the dolphins, and as he's talking, his wife is downstairs and can hear the dolphin making a noise that John, like mimicking her husband, okay? And then from there, one of the research assistants in the lab was making noises, and this other dolphin is mimicking hers. So she is the one that puts in his brain, they're at least kind of understanding you so much so that they're repeating it. So now Lily's like, okay, we got to figure this out. We're gonna start mapping this.
How it's like I'm into it. Like it's Craig Dolphin.
Craig
like,
Dolphin.
I'm into it.
Yes, exactly like that. So this behavior indicated an ambition on the dolphins' part to communicate with the humans around them, and this is what presented
Get the
new
fuck. Are they on
opportunities.
acid while these things
Probably.
are sounding like this?
Probably.
Because yeah.
He's writing a book.
'Cause,
The
yeah.
idea of talking dolphins, eager to tell us something, captured the public's imagination.
Fuck off.
The book he writes a book called Man and Dolphin. It's a bestseller. People can't wait to start communicating with these marine mammals.
This is mid 40s, early 40s.
At this point we are rolling into the 60s.
Oh really?
Yeah,
Oh,
we're rolling into
so
the
he's
60s.
40.
So yeah,
he's
yeah,
something.
yeah.
Okay.
Like, so
Okay.
he's already been experimenting
Gotcha.
a little bit with the sensory depth tank.
Gotcha.
That started in the 50s.
'Cause there is a movie about him in the century.
They made Altered States
yeah.
loosely based on
is
loosely based on it. So then he decides
Dolphin Tail is this.
he decides that he's going to start doing LSD in the tank with him and see if he can't start understanding a little bit of what I don't eat dolphin anymore after finding out that for every dolphin you catch, you end up killing several. So
that guy's the worst. Seth and Steen.
So then he decides maybe we take this a step further. Maybe it's not just me that needs to be on the LSD. So
Maybe
he
them
decides
dolphins need a little acid
just
too.
the one dolphin who is very skittish around humans.
That's a good idea.
That's the one he's gonna start administering 100 mics of LSD, which is a standard
One
human
hit?
dose. Yeah, that 100 is considered a hit of acid.
Yeah.
He's shooting them up with it, so he's hitting them
Give
intramuscularly.
him a ride, bud. Don't just toy with
Stick
him.
your tongue out,
Yeah, come on. Sheet.
So from there, the dolphin that would stay far away from humans, now its communication levels start going up 20 to 70%.
Now it starts
whenever
talking about
somebody-
wanting to go to Burning Man.
It's just exactly. Yes, it's woke as fuck.
Yeah. Shit.
No, this thing's actually it's swimming up to them. It's rubbing up against John like it's now friendly with him whenever this particular dolphin is on LSD.
Shut up.
So it is making them want to communicate more. So that's going on. Margaret, the gal that's living with
Yes.
the dolphins, she's not super hip to dosing these animals. She's like, she's not sure how she feels about it. Doesn't feel so good about it. Think it's kind of fruitless labor. Meanwhile, she's doing this other project with Peter the dolphin, and Peter he's a teenager. Like he's a pubescent teenager. Okay.
No.
And he starts out and he is very focused on the. He's like just staring at the back of her knee, and he's doing all this. Well, then you could tell that like he's his mind is not there, okay? They figure that this is because Peter is like a 12-year-old boy. He's trying to get his fucking nut on, okay?
Okay.
All right? Okay. All right?
You can't say those two sentences so close together. I don't think.
So they take Peter, and every time he starts acting like he's not interested in whatever, they're
Like you and Mishka Pishki in high school.
They gotta take him. They're gonna move him downstairs with the two
they're
female
gonna jerk him
dolphins
off.
and let him get his rocks off with.
That's
the
kind of ridiculous.
But it's very hard to continuously
Masturbate a
be
dolphin?
moving dolphins from top to bottom to be with the other dolphins.
How do dolphins have sex?
So Margaret decides, well, I'm a scientist. I'm not going to move this friend of mine. She no
gonna
longer
jerk it
even
off.
thinks of it as a dolphin. It's just Peter. It's her friend Peter. Okay?
She's gonna jerk him off, isn't she?
And so Peter, it becomes cumbersome to move him upside.
I bet it does.
Yeah. It goes from cumbersome to come a lot.
Puts the cum and cumbersome. All right.
So they, instead of moving him downstairs, she just starts manually working Peter's frustrations out. God love her. That's a woman that's trying to.
I guess.
She's doing it for the science. Okay, so I segued there a little bit just to tell you about a gal that jacked off dolphins. Anyway, Lily works with these. He works with these dolphins. And she really did love this dolphin. She loved it. It wasn't like just a thoughtless act. She wasn't a sex worker. She was living with a dolphin. Lily working side by side with these animals. He was convinced that they were trying to communicate. He just didn't know how to understand what they were communicating.
Did he try rubbing a balloon?
That was the big trouble. I don't think so.
Remember that?
I don't think so. I think he was just squeezing a mouse.
Oh my God, dude! Dude.
Okay. He really didn't do that. He loved animals.
That's
he
department.
loved. Yeah, he smashes mice with books. So Lily envisions a time when all killing of whales and dolphins ceases, and not from a law being passed, but from each human understanding innately that these are ancient, sentient Earth residents with tremendous intelligence and enormous life force. Not someone to kill, but someone to learn from. Okay. So then,
who said that? Did you write that?
That's
Lily?
Lily.
Oh,
That's
Lily,
a direct Lily quote. Okay. So Lily ends up. He writes the. I lost all my shit.
Well, it's just honestly, dude.
No, we're good.
I don't know why.
He ends up writing
Close-ups.
the Marine Mammal Protection Act in 1972. We still follow it. John C. Lilly is fucking responsible. This dude's everywhere. He's writing
I know.
books.
His name sounds
He's
so
writing
familiar.
books. He's there's some great interviews online.
Is
with
he on
him.
like a big company that makes products? Like,
No, I don't know.
Is this a guy from
Walter
Step
Lilly or
Brothers?
something? No.
John C. Reilly.
No. Okay, so things get a little weird.
Things get
Things
a
get a
little
little
weird. Now things are weird.
Things get a little
Things have
strange.
been weird.
So going back to, I'll give you a little breakdown on the sensory depth. So he thinks that this is also another way that we can learn how to communicate.
Whatever became of the
potentially.
dolphin? Did they kind of just leave that as
So
is?
what ends up happening is Margaret is not sure that they don't think that, because they can't measure it. And he even says, he goes, it's not that LSD is not helping us communicate with them. It's that we don't lack the recording tools. The communication that is happening between us and dolphins is bigger than verbal communication.
Yeah.
Which is something that everybody who's had a psychedelic experience kind of gets, right? If you've ever sat in a room with somebody who's had the experience and you're like, oh, that person, I don't know what I'm trying to say, but you know what I'm trying to say.
Theoretically, you should be able to measure that energy.
And I think that's what they're, that's ultimately, he says that's the big flaw with this experiment. It's not that it's not working. It's that we lack the tools to record it. But it doesn't mean that they're any less intelligent that we think. Blah, blah. The Margaret gal, she's still not sold on it because she can't, she's just trying to jerk off dolphins.
Yeah. She's like, guys, give me a few more weeks of jerking these dolphins off, okay?
Okay. So
then I'll have all the data.
Okay. He was interested early on in the search for extraterrestrial intelligence.
Of course he
the
was.
SETI project.
Oh,
right?
really?
Yes. So in 1961, a group of scientists, including Lilly, gathered at the Green Bank Observatory to discuss the possibility of using the techniques of radio astronomy to detect evidence of intelligent life outside the solar system. They called themselves the Order of the Dolphin after his work with the dolphins. They discussed the Drake equation. They use it to estimate the number of communicative civilizations in our galaxy. If anybody gets a...
Grace feels sorry for the Dolphins. That one was getting jerked off all the time.
Yeah, not a bad deal.
Not a bad deal for that dolphin.
Not a bad deal. So his buddy, Ram Dass, tells him that he needs to check out the Patanjali system of yoga as he's... working with different psychedelics, with different, these different consciousness expansion, exactly.
Expanders. So
he starts with LSD. He then travels to Chile, trains with the spiritual leader, Oscar Achazo. As he's down there, he claims that he's achieved the maximum degree of Satori Samadhi consciousness during his training. Lilly's maxim was, in the province of the mind, what one believes to be true either is true or becomes true within certain limits. These limits are to be found experimentally and experientially. When so found, these limits turn out to be further beliefs to be transcended. In the province of the mind, there are no limits. However, in the province of the body, there are definite limits not to be transcended. He's fucking working on this. He comes up with this during, we talk about LSD pioneers and things like that. This is where you'll get a kick out of this. If John C. Lilly was a pioneer of any psychedelic or dissociative, he was kind of the ketamine cowboy. Okay, so when he starts in on ketamine, he starts using it in his sensory depth tank. He starts having these amazing out-of-body experiences where he's bringing back information. He comes up with the idea of solid-state intelligence, okay, SSI. And it's a malevolent entity described by Lilly. And it's a network of computation-capable solid-state systems, electronics, engineered by humans. They will eventually develop, or already has developed, into an autonomous bioform. Since the optimal survival conditions for this bioform, low-temperature vacuum, are drastically different from those needed by humans, room temperature, aerial atmosphere, and adequate water supply, Lilly predicted, or prophesied,
unbelievable,
based on his ketamine-induced visions, a dramatic conflict between the two forms of intelligence. He's convinced that there is essentially a supercomputer that exists within the universe, okay, that is ultimately trying to replicate itself and expand out over the cosmos. Doesn't sound all that far-fetched.
No.
Now. In 1974, Lilly's research using various psychoactive drugs led him to believe in the existence of a certain hierarchical group of cosmic entities, the lowest of which he later dubbed Earth Coincidence Control Office, or ECHO. You guys remember a little Sega Genesis game called Echo the Dolphin?
Yeah.
Remember that?
I loved Echo the Dolphin.
It was all based on John C. Lilly's research. So it was basically, it was a dolphin it was a mind-controlled dolphin that you could bring through all these
and
levels.
Had to eat stuff.
It was zapped out by aliens out of the water, comes up into this other deal, right?
I loved that game, dude. I did. I only got to play it at a buddy's house, too. It was one of those games. Like Baseball Stars I didn't own. And
I think my buddy had it on Sega CD, I think is what he had it on. Yeah,
you had the
friends, good stuff. Man. Yeah, dude, I was fucking that moneyed circles, bro.
Shit.
All right, to elaborate, there exists a Cosmic Coincidence Control Center, quadruple C, with a galactic substation called Galactic Coincidence Control. Within GCC is the Solar System Control Unit, within which is the Earth Coincidence Control Office. This conclusion had been predicted in his past works, having stated that for the first time I began to consider that God really existed in me and that there is a guiding intelligence in the universe. What? So he essentially comes back with, he calls them 9 conditions, which should be followed by humans who seek to experience coincidence in their own lives. It's basically a 10 commandments for people trying to communicate with this extraterrestrial intelligence. And they read as follows. You must know, assume, and simulate our existence in echo. You must be willing to accept our responsibility for control of your coincidences. You must exert your best capabilities for your survival programs and your own development as an advanced member of Echo's Earthside core of controlled coincidence workers. You're expected to use your best intelligence in this service. You're expected to expect the unexpected every minute, every hour of every day and of every night. You must be able to maintain conscious thinking, reasoning, no matter what events we arrange to happen to you. Some of these events will seem cataclysmic, catastrophic, overwhelming. Remember, stay aware. No matter what happens, apparently happens to you. You are in our training program for life. There's no escape from it. We, not you, control the long-term coincidences. You, not we, control the short-term coincidences by your own efforts. Your major mission on Earth is to discover, create that which we do to control the long-term coincidence patterns. You are being trained on Earth to do this job. When your mission on planet Earth is completed, you will no longer be required to return there. Remember the motto passed to us from GCC via SSCU. Cosmic love is absolutely ruthless and highly indifferent. It teaches its lessons whether you dislike them or not.
I like that one.
So that's John C. Lilly.
Wow.
There is so much to learn about this guy. So when he came back with that message, when he got all of that download from the aliens, he phones the White House. Okay? He phones the White House. I think at the time it was Ford. Was it Ford or Carter? It was one of those two. Are in the White House. He calls them and he goes, there are hostile aliens sitting outside of Earth. They're running the show, and if we don't do something about it, we're gonna. They almost had him committed. He had to go through a whole thing. They thought he was a crazy man. He called them up in the middle.
He's like,
of the
in
night.
the year 2020,
Yeah.
shit's gonna get really crazy.
Get fucking crazy,
Yeah,
dude.
this
And they're
guy's
like,
an
this guy's a
idiot.
fucking idiot.
Yeah, Jesus, man, get him out of here.
John C. Lilly, and isn't it weird, dude, that like I guess in the beginning there were only the brightest minds that were that these chemicals were made available to.
Yeah.
So
unlike
like
cannabis.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
Isn't it crazy? John C. Lilly was a brilliant dude. So many of our medical tools that we use to this day were invented by him. Our understanding, I mean, like I said, sensory deprivation floating. We used to do our show from a float center. You know,
We did that.
This was a guy that just came up with this all on his own in the 50s. He's born in 1917.
He's a pioneer.
He's a true psychonaut pioneer.
He's a wild
who did
man.
some crazy things, or what seemed crazy at the time, but don't really seem all that far-fetched now. And that is how, a Sega Genesis game, the movie Altered States, the founder of the Mayo Clinic, and the Marine Mammal Protection Act of 1972. That's what they all have in common.
Ladies
John
and gentlemen,
Cunningham Lilly.
Ladies and gentlemen, a little behind-the-scenes action here. We talked about the new format of the show, and so we're going to lead off each show with kind of like a wild story to keep people engaged. That's supposed to last approximately 15, 20 minutes. We're at 49 minutes long right now. With Craig.
We went live for 10, so that's
okay, you're right.
yeah, we're
you're
good.
right.
We're good.
We're right in where we need to be. We're in the sweet spot. If you like stories about jerking off dolphins, follow us on Twitter, Instagram, Periscope, Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook. You can watch us anywhere.
You can watch us
guys.
anywhere.
You
Yeah.
can watch us anywhere.
Totally.
Let's hit them with a commercial, and then we'll come back with cannabis news, psychedelic news.
I think that sounds like a good idea.
Let's do that.
I mean,
All
as
right,
long as
guys.
they're not crazy. You know what I am, Steve, real quick? I just want to let everybody know. I'm a friend of the Weed Blog, Jack. KC Weed Blog.
That's my game, Jack. What are you doing?
Yeah,
dude?
but it worked for me.
That's bullshit. Hold on. That is straight bullshit.
Damn it. Tell him back up, Mike. Tell him. Tell him to back up, Mike.
You're wrong. You're wrong.
We're friends of the KC Weed Blog. James Thomas, not only is he just a brilliant man behind a computer, not only is he a brilliant man behind a computer creating awesome content, but he is also a world-class DJ. He's a world-class DJ. I'm a big fan of James Thomas, and he fucking rocked the joint at Hoosier Prom. We're going to talk about Hoosier Prom in the second hour, but I think now's as good a time as any to you want to go into the break right now? You don't want to give
Yeah,
you don't want to give
do.
all these people the cannabis news right now?
No, we're gonna hit you with a break, and then we're coming back with cannabis news. Do we have any psychedelic news, or is that?
Yeah, I got psychedelic news.
All right, sweet. We got psychedelic news, and then we're gonna hit you with our big talk of the evening. Okay, and you guys are like, whoa. Stevie Craig's totally blowing my mind, man. I'm thinking about life differently now. What? Oh, that's nuts. And that's what's going to happen to you.
Yeah.
So deal with it.
Jerking Dolphins off didn't get you
And
there.
then I got a streaming pick for the ages. A streaming
week this week.
pick. I have a streaming pick. I don't say this ever. I have a streaming pick for the ages.
Okay, bud.
Okay. Let's say hi to Mike. Mike's going to give us a few words here. Mike, why don't you go ahead and say a few words for us?
Hey, how y'all doing tonight? Sitting over here with Seth, getting him all nestled in. And we're not doing my pick, but I got a good one. It's on HBO.
Okay. Seth, what do you think, bud?
Are you guys just testing out your voice thing there?
Yes. No, I just want to say hi to you, Seth.
Oh.
How dare you? How dare you?
Did I just fuck something up then? Nobody. Got him. Hello, guys. We're gonna love the dolphin story.
All right, we're going to turn their mics off now. I got all the control over here on this end because Craig and I are wearing suit jackets, blazers, and we're in control. I got a real Ben Swan vibe going on tonight, don't I?
You look
like
great.
I'm going to be canceled and erased from the internet for saying a little too much.
You look great. Let's take these guys to commercial. What do you think?
Let's do it. You got it on there?
Take our insurance and are you cannabis friendly? Yeah. And they all said no. And then at that last phone call, that 8th phone call, I was like, do you know anybody that is? I'm desperate. I've called 7 other people. You're my 8th phone call. Yeah. At this point, I'm crying my eyes out. And this lady just felt bad for me and said, hold on, let me call you back in a few minutes. And they called me back and they said that they would take him, but under a certain amount of conditions. And the main condition was that if they felt that cannabis was not working for him, then they would take him from us and put him in and Child Protective Services, and then they would take the other 2 kids too. Oh, because they were both underage.
Then
and we would be charged with child endangerment.
So they'd go to federal prison.
Yeah, we would go to federal prison. So we said, bring it on.
Hey guys, it's me, Kippy the Crazy Koala Bear, and I'm here to tell you about James Carlton Insurance.
Kids, quiet down.
It's the best.
Kids, quiet down and listen to Kippy.
Grown-ups need insurance, and Uncle James can help.
Right on.
Grown-ups need insurance. He's got the best reviews on Yelp. Grown-ups need insurance if they want to protect their house.
Yes, sir.
Grown-ups need insurance if they want to properly bury a spouse.
That's a bit morbid.
Grown-ups need insurance if they drive a truck.
Okay.
Grown-ups need insurance just so they don't get...
Whoa, Kippy, you can't...
Well, I was just going to say get in trouble.
Okay, well, it
you
sounded
don't
like
want
you
to
were
get in trouble.
going to say something else. James Carlton, State Farm Insurance. You can find him online at carltoninsurance.net, or you can call him at 314-961-4800.
Native hemp inside of me. 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 I got 1,800 milligrams going real good down my throat. When I wake up in the morning and I need a pick-me-up, well, I grab my bottle of native hemp and I splash it on my tongue. Lap, lap, lap. Native hemp inside of me. Native hemp inside of me. Native hemp inside of me. Native hemp inside of me.
Native hemp extract, available at HoosierSophisticate.com. Enter code HOSO, H-O-S-O, at checkout for an additional 30% off.
Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and I finally got rid of that prick Craig, and it's time for Steve to do his damn thing here. You know what I'm saying? Ooh, it's going to be real tough to see those things here. Here, Craig, take this mouse, and you're in control of the my imagery right up here. Look at this imagery. Look at this. Look at this up here. We got new stuff going on, man. Look at all this stuff. Guys, I want to get serious with you for a second about cannabis and cancer, because it's really been been close to our lives right now with the Aubrey Strong. If you guys haven't checked out Aubrey Strong, please do check it out on Facebook. We're going to have, what's that date again?
September 26th.
September 26th. Please come out, just have a good time and raise some money for the Matthews family. They just keep popping out little baby girls, and we're going to wrap them in love. So that's what we're going to do on the 26th. It's 26th. So that's what we're going to do. And how my journey came into cannabis was with the Hamilton family. And I found a couple of the articles, and I want to get back to basics tonight. This is the first time we've really kind of, Craig and I tried tonight, guys. We're trying. Look at us. We're trying. We put these on. We're trying. He's going to do the background here. We have this whole setup. Look at this. Look at us for you. Look what we do for you. There was a study that really changed my life. Along with the Project for 22, I've had a few moments where cannabis, where at first I thought it might be destroying my life. I'm like, oh man, I'm losing my ambition to work on Wall Street. What the hell's wrong with me? Is cannabis a medicine, or do I just want cannabis to be a medicine? Then I asked my buddy who went to med school, hundreds of thousands of dollars in debt, what the endocannabinoid system was. The guy didn't even know. He's like, I don't know, endocannabinoid, and we're going to get into that. First, I want to show you this picture. This is Dr. Christina Sanchez, and she gives one of the best YouTube video speeches, whatever you want to call them. And I know that kind of has a negative connotation now, like, oh, you learned your shit on YouTube. Well, she's a doctor from Madrid, and her studies have figured out that THC in combination with other cannabinoids have been known to shrink and cause cancer cells to commit suicide, apoptosis. I love that word. And it's the best way for these tumor cells to kill themselves. And she came onto this by accident. They were testing some other cells. Then they started testing cancer cells. She's worked with Rafi Machulam, talks about him at the beginning of the video. He's one of the founders. I think he found out how he came up with THC. He found out the molecule THC. And how it all works. And this, we're talking about whole plant, how a plant can help heal with cancer. All right, take me to the next one, Craig. So please check out Dr. Christina Sanchez. I'll put the link up. Now, the next thing I want to teach you about is Simpson Oil, okay? And you can share this with all your cannabis friends and stuff, because this is solid information that we're talking about here. You can actually take me down to the desktop view if you want to, if you can see that. I don't know if you can see that on where you're at. Yeah, there's my guy. But Simpson Oil is potent THC oil in congruence with other cannabinoids. And he was famous back in the day. I take for granted how much cannabis information I've consumed over the years. Craig and I both do. All of us, I think all of us in our circle take for granted how much cannabis knowledge we've absorbed over the years. Rick Simpson was kind of the first guy I heard about it. He had cancer on his face. He was putting it on his skin. He was putting it on bandages. He was making it in his backyard in Canada. And then the Canadian Mounties, he went to the VFWs and said, hey, man, this is helping me out. And the Mounties were like, well, we got to cut down your crop, man. You're growing too much weed. You're blowing too many guys at the VFW. Shit, you're growing too much weed. So they cut down his crop. He has to move to Amsterdam to get away. He's like the first guy. I'm like, what the hell is going on? Why, if there's a possibility that this oil can work and make things better, they'll admit that. Now you can go to the next slide here too if you want. This is the study. This is the study that changed everything for me. This is the first one I saw because, to go back to the Hamilton family, acute lymphoblastic leukemia. That's what type of cancer Chance Hamilton had. And to see this beautiful young man kind of waste away from a disease that I thought, I was just looking up cannabis studies just to see if it was a medicine. And I came upon this one, and I thought it was some sort of sign that the universe was giving me. I didn't know the Hamilton family that well. I didn't know how to approach them with this, because it's hard to approach somebody about cannabis use as a medicine, which we're trying to defeat that right now. That mantra, that mindset has to go. We have to give our doctors the best tools. We have to give our brightest minds the best tools. And you'll start to see, we'll get down to a point with these next pages that they say, well, we don't have enough studies. We don't have enough studies. So let's go down to the blast cell count. You see how high it is. It gets up to 374. You see how low the dosage is down there at the bottom. I think it says 0.02. 0.066, and there is somewhere in there where they write down the strains. I'm not sure if it's on there, but they have to write down like White Widow and stuff. Now keep scrolling down. So now we're starting to see an increase in the oil at day 32. The blast. So then, okay, now keep scrolling down. Keep going down to the next one. I mean, to see some of these, I think it's the next one is the one we want. Next one. There it is. So that's the whole spectrum there. And you can see once they start giving her this little 14-year-old girl who was sick, so sick. And you can see at the top, I don't know, we'll post this on the page too. If you guys haven't followed our Sophisticated Hoosiers page or our Hoosier Sophisticate page, follow that right now. Someone tag the group at Sophisticated Hoosiers, at Hoosier Sophisticate. Follow along. We'll post all this stuff later. But this was a real study that I saw. I was like, oh, God, I don't understand science that well, but this seems really scientific. The data was really thought out, like the way the doctors did it. And they did it in such a way that they knew that the medicine was working in congruence with how much they were giving her. Well, she succumbed to her injuries on like day 76, I believe. It's just bad news. It's like her organs fail and she bleeds out. And if you see the levels, they go way down. And I tried to look it up, what all of that means. But then I looked up another article, and it may actually be in this one, but they said if she would have come in on like day 65, they would have said, oh, yeah, I don't know if we would even have diagnosed you with ALL. But she was so beat up from chemotherapy that it was like, whoa. And go on, you can go on to the next one. So look that up. That's one of the craziest things of all time. So now we have an article. It's why won't your doctor prescribe you cannabis? And the thing is, doctors will actually lose their license and could possibly go to jail for talking to you about cannabis, but there is a law, a loophole in the system that allows doctors to recommend it because they can kind of say, well, I was just chatting with my patient. I was just chatting with them. I wasn't actually prescribing them something, which is ridiculous because our doctors are allowed to prescribe some heavy duty medicines. And a lot of times when you talk to doctors, they don't feel comfortable really giving you all the information. When we're seeing a little girl battle cancer, when we're seeing the parents take a fucking leap of faith in a plant, in an oil, we're not allowing our doctors to be able to have a conversation back and forth because what the shit do we know? We didn't go to school for all these years. We need their help. We need our best and brightest minds on it. And this might be the one that talks about, maybe it's a different one, but how med schools aren't teaching about the endocannabinoid system. And they're saying, well, there aren't very many studies on how how cannabis works, because marijuana is kind of a whole deal in itself, how it got that moniker. But cannabis as a medicine has been studied time and time and time again. And what they say is that when doctors finally hear that it's working for their patients, they usually do come around. Dr. Sue Sisley, we've talked to her numerous times. She heard from her veteran patients that it was helping. It was helping them cope with life. And you'll see, go to the next one. This is marijuana and cannabis. Okay, so this is the articles I was showing that it on all of these from the American Cancer Society, from all these publications that you think, yes, these are the ones, right? These are the ones that get all of the glory, have the names that I recognize. They all just say, well, it can help with nausea. It can help with appetite. Okay. If even just that, if you're fighting for your life and nutrition and how you are absorbing life to do battle with the hardest thing you've ever had to battle in your life. If we can get better food in you and we can make you less nauseous, oh my God, every doctor should be figuring out. And this might be the article that also talks about dosing. So when you're talking about dosing, some doctors are afraid to say, you need this much, you need that much. Some people, like edibles don't really have that much of an effect on me that they do to some other people. Some people eat a 10 milligram edible and are like, woo, I had to listen to all the Floyd albums last night. I was so messed up. It's like, what? I'll eat a 300 milligram and be like, oh, that was fun. I fished for a little while. So all of these will, and they always talk about the possible harms, and here you go down to the cannabinoid, the drugs that they have, and they'll talk about how the drugs that they have, the pharmaceuticals that they have, those will work for you. Do we have another one, I think? Yeah, we got one more there. And this one, and this is about Charlotte Figge. This is health law. This is from 2014. So we've been talking about it for way too long. Families should not have to figure shit out on their own how to save their babies' lives. They shouldn't have to do that. We need to start changing everything about how we look at cannabis. Even getting cannabis legal. I got a damn tattoo on my ass. I'm a fool. I'm a damn fool. Okay? I love the meaning behind it. But I feel like I gave the people who were oppressing marijuana users, I feel like I said, hey, here's the power of the marijuana industry. Can we have a little bit of the scraps and we'll run everything by you while people are still locked in cages, while parents are still trying to figure out what happens with their babies when they get cancer, if this is a viable medicine, or is cannabis going to kill them? I don't know. The things that must run through your head as a parent trying to figure this out yourself is insanity. So I implore everyone to look up some of these. I just wanted to kind of whet your appetite that there are studies out there that have cause and effect correlation between cancer and cannabis. And we need our best minds studying it at all times. You can support groups like MAPS. There are studies online that you can look up yourself. There are groups online with tons of anecdotal evidence where they are curing cancer with diet and Simpson oil or fecal oil. Okay, there is a regimen to high potency THC cannabis oil, and we need to figure out what's going on with all the rest of the cannabinoids. Okay, it's time. Let our best and brightest minds at it, baby. Now, there's places too. Finally, schools and universities are starting to have programs where you can kind of get your, masters in cannabis, which that's what we need. Hopefully, everyone educates themselves and politely educates others. We're going to get into internet arguing and debating later. That was Cannabis News with Steve Elgin. Now I'm going to hand it over to my buddy, Craig Kohler, with some psychedelic news. I'm going to play this. Oh, guys, you don't have... Guys,
My fellow Americans, the world is experiencing a mental health care crisis and is searching for answers. Problem is, we can't see the forest for the trees. The answer is nature, and it's time we decriminalize it. The Conscious Party believes in freedom. Every 25 seconds, someone in America is arrested for drug possession. 1/5 of the incarcerated population, 456,000 red-blooded Americans, are serving time for a drug charge. Another 1.15 million people are on probation and parole for drug-related offenses. The Conscious Party believes in equality. Black Americans are nearly 6 times more likely to be incarcerated for drug-related offenses than their white counterparts, despite equal substance usage rates. Almost 80% of people serving time for a federal drug offense are black or Latino. In state prisons, people of color make up 60% of those serving time for drug charges. The Conscious Party believes in fiscal responsibility. In 2015, the federal government spent an estimated $9.2 million every day to incarcerate people charged with drug-related offenses. That's more than $3.3 billion annually. It's time we take back our country. The Conscious Party believes in love, the Conscious Party believes in America, and most importantly, the Conscious Party believes in you. I'm Craig Kohler, and I approve this message.
This ad paid for with money out of Steve's piggy bank he typically uses to buy legal smokable herbs and concentrates.
Now, I might not know a lot about chemistry, but what I do know, it's likely that the hydrogen atoms inside your body are about 13.5 billion years old. And I might not know a lot about nanotechnology, but I do know it's important in quantum computing and the eventual takeover by our machine overlords. And I might not know a lot about otters, but damn is it cute when they hold their hands as they go to sleep. But what I do know is the correct bait to use at what time of day to catch you a real nice hog of a largemouth bass. And what I do know are the beautiful intricacies and sensations that is the cannabis plant. And what I do know are how psychedelics can help heal the nation filled with pain, trauma, and anxiety. I believe in America. I believe in the world. And most of all, I believe in you. Thank you, and I approve this message.
This ad paid for by Mycelial Media, mainly out of Craig's bank account, so please don't tell Craig that we are paying for it out of Mycelial Media. Thank you, and goodbye.
Psychedelic news over on the side. Welcome, guys. Steve-O, if you don't mind, let's talk about a little bit of psychedelic news. As if it wasn't enough talking about a guy taking ketamine and going and talking to the... Ooh, what's going on here? This is how I get all fired up when Steve talks about the cannabis. What are you doing there? You can see it on that screen. Guys, there's been... we're gonna cover 3 little psychedelic stories. First, we're going to cover some fart juice. Cow fart juice is a potent herbal remedy for topical use on skin discomforts to wounds or a microbial presence. Sounds like a cure for COVID to me. Can LSD microdosing reduce pain perception? Beckley Foundation, Amanda Fielding in England, who is in Parliament. She is a an advocate to deschedule drugs and the war on drugs. Beckley Foundation had in conjunction with, I think it was just them that ran it, Maastricht University. They do all the coolest stuff. They decided to see if microdosing LSD could potentially reduce pain symptoms for people. And the way that this worked was they administered 5 micrograms, 10 micrograms, and 20 micrograms into different patients or subjects. And what they would do is they would have them submerge their hands in like ice cold water. Okay, at 5, and then they also had a placebo. At 5 and 10 micrograms, they didn't really measure much difference between the placebo and the 5 or 10 mics. At 20 micrograms, however, oh, look at you go. At 20 micrograms, they could hold their hands submerged in the ice cold water substantially longer than before. They reported a decrease in the subjective experience of painfulness and unpleasantness. And basically, they were able to slow down there, guy. It had analgesic effects up to 1.5 to 3 hours. 5 hours, excuse me, after the LSD administration. I'm fucking trying to keep up here, bud. I feel like Bill O'Reilly. Fuck, we'll do it fucking live. We'll do it live. Fart juice. Cow fart juice is a potent herbal remedy for topical use on skin discomforts due to wounds or microbial presence. It softens skin's fibers, guys, so stay tuned. So this is the first time that they were able to show that LSD may have some pain-killing potentials at doses that won't make the subject hallucinate. So that was something that was just dropped by the Beckley Foundation, who does awesome work on the other side of the pond, kind of Europe's maps, if you will. They work in conjunction with them. They do awesome work. So they're talking about MindMed is, we've talked about this company a few times. There are more and more companies that are going public. And MindMed has been granted the go-ahead to check out what the festy circuit would call candy flipping, bro. Hey kids, hello fellow kids. You ever heard of candy flipping? MindMed and the University Hospital Basel's Lichty Lab on Tuesday announced plans to combine MDMA and LSD in a phase 1 clinical trial scheduled to start fourth quarter of the year in Basel, Switzerland. Some psychedelics, including psilocybin and LSD, have been shown to induce short-term unpleasant effects for psychedelic-assisted therapy, such as negative thoughts, rumination, panic, paranoia. MDMA has been found to induce feelings of well-being and trust. The idea is that they can couple these together to make a more potent chemical combination to treat depression, post-traumatic distress disorder, PTSD, stress disorder. Yeah. Come on, Krager. So it is lonely over here. Feels weird. But this is huge, man, because typically, like with maps they're talking about getting MDMA scheduled, and we're gonna flip to that here in just a second. But in the fourth quarter of this year, they're going to combine LSD with MDMA. There haven't been any studies where they've combined the two and done that kind of work. Now, if you don't mind going to that next tab, Steve-O, this is the big news that's dropped in the last 2 weeks. Making MDMA medicine capstone challenge completed, guys. They raised an extra $10 million. Tim Ferriss put out on his podcast. He put together a group, the Psychedelic Science Funding Collaboration. And basically what it was is if they could raise X amount of dollars, the PSFC was going to kick in another $10 million grant. This now gives them over $30 million and will allow MAPS to complete its FDA trials, its stage 3 trials, and it looks like we are now on the fast track for MDMA to be a medicine. Over 2,500 people raised well over $10 million in 70 days to make it happen. Totally freaking awesome. We are now in the fourth quarter of FDA trials for MDMA-assisted psychotherapy. This is huge news. We talked to Rick Doblin about it back in November, and it looks like we're rolling. And after we get MDMA going, we're rolling, baby. We're rolling. No pun intended. How good is that? God damn. So guys, this is huge because all along this has been going on since the 80s for Rick Doblin. The DEA was going to reschedule MDMA to Schedule I drug. Rick just shows up because they had an open period for comments, for people to come in and give some data. He shows up, he presents the data, the judge makes a recommendation that MDMA is not made a Schedule I drug, but rather a Schedule III drug, as it clearly shows therapeutic potential. And then, of course, the drug war did what the drug war do. They made it Schedule I, and the research had been stifled. I mean, going back to Sasha Shulgin, he when he created this, he said, we might really have something on our hands here. So Doblin went and sat in front of the federal courts. He's been fighting for this since the 80s, and here we are in 2020. Probably by 2021, I think, is what Rick said was going to be the launch date, I suppose, where you're going to start seeing clinics throughout America basically being able to administer MDMA and to assist their psychotherapy. There's already some ketamine clinics that do this for depression. So where the ball is moving in the right direction. MAPS, of course, is working on plenty of other psychedelics, talking about ayahuasca. Iboga is something they're going to focus on with its promises with removing people off of opiates. Big doings in the psychedelic world, guys. It's going to be an interesting next couple of years. Thanks for tuning in for Psychedelic News this week. I don't know what the mad scientist is doing over there. We already played it, bud.
Take our insurance and are you cannabis friendly?
Yeah.
And they all said no. And then at that last phone call, that 8th phone call, I was like, do you know anybody that is? I'm desperate. I've called 7 other people. You're my 8th phone call.
Yeah.
At this point, I'm crying my eyes out. And this lady just felt bad for me and said, hold on, let me call you back in a few minutes. And they called me back and they said that they would take him, but under a certain amount of conditions. And the main condition was that if they felt that cannabis was not working for him, then they would take him from us and put him in and Child Protective Services, and then they would take the other 2 kids too.
Oh,
because they were both underage.
Then
and we would be charged with child endangerment.
So they'd go to federal prison.
Yeah, we would go to federal prison. So we said, bring it on.
Hey guys, it's me, Kippy the Crazy Koala Bear, and I'm here to tell you about James Carlton Insurance.
Kids, quiet down.
It's the best.
Kids, quiet down and listen to Kippy.
Grown-ups need insurance, and Uncle James can help.
Right on.
Grown-ups need insurance. He's got the best reviews on Yelp. Grown-ups need insurance if they want to protect their house.
Yes, sir.
Grown-ups need insurance if they want to properly bury a spouse.
That's a bit morbid.
Grown-ups need insurance if they drive a truck.
Okay.
Grown-ups need insurance just so they don't get.
Whoa, Kippy, you can't.
Well, I was just going to say get in trouble.
Okay, well, it
you
sounded
don't
like you
wanna
were going
get
to
in trouble.
sounded like you were going to say something else. James Carlton, State Farm Insurance. You can find him online at carltoninsurance.net, or you can call him at 314-961-4800.
Native hemp inside of me. 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 I got 1,800 milligrams going real good down my throat. When I wake up in the morning and I need a pick-me-up, well, I grab my bottle of native hemp and I splash it on my tongue. Lap, lap, lap. Native hemp inside of me. Native hemp inside of me. Native hemp inside of me. Native hemp inside of me.
Native hemp extract, available at HoosierSophisticate.com. Enter code HOSO, H-O-S-O, at checkout for an additional 30% off.
Stop. Oh. Are you beeping us? That was a little mean,
Steve.
Whatever.
We've got a talk that we're going to come up. We're going to have about kind of how hard it is to communicate in this digital world, or seemingly anyway. We're going through some growing pains as information is made available to us. One of the ways that we combat kind of some of the ugly that's out there is we try to put together these little events where we come together and just have a real good time, bud. We're going to sit by the fire. We're just going to sit by the little campfire. It's about 200 yards away, but we're going to sit by the fire. And
we didn't want to pick it up on the microphones.
Right, yeah, the
crackling.
It's like ASMR. Like this is crackling.
It's crackling, baby. What's crackling? What's crack-a-lacking?
So we throw these events to kind of try and counteract some of the ugly that we see on a day-to-day basis.
I like when your voice gets real low. And
I know, this is my NPR voice.
This is, it's fireside. This is fireside voice.
We had a little event.
Get in bed.
This past weekend called Hoosier Prom. Buddy, you didn't get a chance at prom.
I didn't get a prom. I went to prom. I was all gussied up. I got a limo. I got a date. A girl, and took her to the prom. I took her to the prom. I get there, a lightning storm happens. Boom! The power goes out. I just remember vividly watching the flames that were keeping the food warm just go and just go to nothing. And we were like, oh, well, I guess we're going to party in the dark or whatever. And CBC was like, see you later. You guys all got to leave. Peace out. You're not getting a refund. It's an act of God. So that's what happened at my prom. And so you know what? I said, you know what? I'm 36 years old. I'm a man.
Totally.
I have friends.
Couple.
I'll do this my damn self.
I dare you.
I did it, and we did it, and you guys did it. I had one of the coolest moments of my life. We announced the prom king and prom queen. And
I had no idea how cool that was going to be.
Listen. Craig comes up to me. He says, hey, we're going to announce prom king, prom queen. What song do we hit him with? I go, okay, I got one in my head. I got it. I knew it. As soon as he told me, I'm like, I want to be the guy for Craig. Because Craig is that guy. Craig's that guy. I want to impress him right now. So I'm like, okay, I got one right back here. But the two that are right here, I think from our era, a lot of times they would play a Lady in Red for a slow dance. Lady in Red is dancing with me. Sorry. But that song always makes me foamy.
I get it. It gets them all frothy.
And then Don't Speak was also another one. Don't speak, and I know what you're thinking.
Which is kind of weird because I think it's a breakup song.
I know, but we would slow dance to it.
Yeah,
and I'd
strange.
grind my little...
Strange.
And so, but the one...
You could have lived in a pool house.
One... who said I didn't?
Fair enough.
The one song that I knew was going to be the moment for everyone, that everyone knows it transcends all creeds and races and religions, okay? It's Celine Dion, My Heart Will Go On. Everyone watched Titanic from around the world. It broke every box office record of all time. If you're not a part of the @Sophisticated Hoosiers group, someone, again, put that on there. We have posted pictures from prom. It was second chance prom. So everyone wore second-hand clothes. I got it. We get it. Jesus Christ almighty. I can only do that one.
Campfire juice.
Should we go back to that?
No.
So, DJ... Casey Weedblog, James Thomas, we go over there, we're like, hey, hit him with this. Right when we announce the winner, he starts playing it as we're getting ready to announce the winner because he knows it has a slight little
build up.
It's
got to build up.
So he starts coming in, we can hear it, and we're like, we now know our moment when the song starts to pick up a little bit. And your 2020 prom king and prom queen are Christopher and Rachel Crawford. So then someone, I'm not quite sure who, maybe Jenny's or somebody, maybe Messy's or somebody, to hold hands.
I think it was Jenny's.
And circle
Not
around
sure.
them. Okay, Jenny, phenomenal idea. We all hold hands around them. And this is new people to the parties, old timers to the OGs to the party. And everyone's just kind of like,
for one point, like
he was lonely.
It's like our father in church when you're like, you know, like you ever go to a church? Did your church hold hands? Did Boniface hold hands?
Hell,
fuck,
some of them
you
did. They did. I didn't. I ain't trying to hold nobody's hand. I'm trying to give a peace.
Peace be with you, pal.
Yeah, that's all I need. Don't give me too long though.
Yeah, I'll stare you right in your soul. Peace be with you.
No, I don't like that.
The first time I went to a church that held hands during Our Father, I was like, "What are you fucking weirdos doing?"
Don't do that. We held hands at this thing, so we all lock hands. We're like, and right when we get to the near, far, wherever you are, and those perverts were making out.
I mean, just getting in there.
Like,
I don't see nothing wrong with a little bum and grind. I don't see nothing wrong with peeing on your behind.
Is that
no? That's
okay.
historically factual.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Cool.
Don't give historical facts.
No.
It's a slippery slope around here.
No. Here's the deal: the love that I saw immediately when we held hands. You've said it on your lives before. It's cliche what we kind of do. Like, hey, everybody holds hands and sings and dances around. What a bunch of assholes. What a
Cheesiest
bunch
shit
of
you've ever seen.
assholes. But to see the look on everyone's face.
Like, we're doing this.
People were singing a little bit at the beginning. By the time the 1.5, 2 minute mark hits of that song, everyone is belting from the deepest part of their nether region, dude, and just
singing from the gooch,
singing straight from the chode, baby, just getting the power from it. Diaphragm, nah. Gooch, I was trying to, I remember at one point, I'm like, I'm singing loud. Now I'm being outsung. I better sing louder. Like it was a wave of exuberation that you don't get very often, that you shouldn't take for granted, that I will never take for granted how
That's
cool
the funny thing, right? So it's a cheesy thing what we're doing.
Cheesy.
Something that you can't really imagine yourself doing as a cool adult.
No,
but then as you're doing it, you're seeing, 40 people like realizing in the moment, like,
assholes.
I would have never been caught dead doing this, but I feel as good as I have ever felt in my life right now. And just seeing these two in love in the middle.
I know.
And then you know,
Dude,
so
one of the
we're
greatest moments.
so we're doing this, right? And it's like any dance. It's hard to have everybody on the floor, right?
Yes.
It's very hard. There's the party always
Yes.
kind of splinters. There's upstairs, there's downstairs, there's outside. There's people moving about. So there's this at this moment we told everybody, please be here just as we announce King and Queen. And what does that cosmic cockslinger from Kansas City do as that song winds down?
Okay, so the song's winding down. I think Christopher, Rachel, Crawford, they come over and they go, we never had a slow dance at our wedding. We never got to dance at our wedding.
Never had a first dance.
And I was like,
oh,
I didn't
let's
even
make this
realize how cool.
unbelievable experience
So that
even
song's
better.
fading out.
Now wait a minute. You know you make me wanna. And Steve looks at me and he goes, "That's a fucking DJ right there."
I know.
We got 45 people on the floor.
Watch the video. You can
Getting
see immediately when he hits that
after
wait a
it.
minute, because there's a pause. He lets
Everyone-
it pause for a minute, and then he hits it, and you see everybody's like, oh, they just come out of the
It was
woodwork,
just like
dude.
Animal House, dude. It was amazing. It was
God.
awesome. We danced to our heart's content. That was one of my favorite moments ever. I mean, there were so many. Another almost equally awesome. I have one regret about not doing this one thing, but we had some funky tunes going on. We had a little Marvin Gaye. Got to give it up. Okay, it's playing, and what happens? We decide to form a little soul train.
Oh, that was awesome.
So we got a soul train.
That was
and
awesome.
everybody's taking their turn,
Dude, that
doing
was
their thing,
so
right?
fucking
Everybody's
awesome.
involved. The party's popping. Okay, it's kicking. Pizza guy shows up behind the fucking soul train, and the look on his face when he walked in that door and saw people just having the most fun a group of humans that have been pent up, locked up, could have. My only regret is being like, you carry those fucking pizzas down the fucking line, buddy. Show me a move or two. Show me a move or two. Shake your ass down the fucking soul train, pal. You got here in perfect time.
I know.
The look on his face was tremendous. It was awesome. And there were a ton, like, what was cool was there were people that got a chance to come out to their first event. Kansas City showed up real big. I mean, we had five people from Kansas City. We had another couple from the lake. We had people come from all over. Really spent the whole night with us.
Welcome additions.
Crazy
man.
shit happening
outside
throughout the night. Like really funny shit happening. Like you had a whole city. People were like, Craig, you missed it, man. There was some crazy shit going on with the stripper and Steve and this whole fucking thing. It was a whole thing, right? And I'm like, oh, I missed it, did I? I've been having 45 minutes trying to explain that I'm not the dragon. What
was up?
So,
was up?
So, our prom
That
king,
was the wildest
our
shit of
prom
all
king
time.
comes and finds me downstairs. I'm slinging some drinks downstairs, and he goes, there's a dude waving his arm inside of the front door trying to pay to get into the party. And I'm like, all right, well, thanks for letting me know. I'll go handle
someone
it.
we know?
I don't even know at this point. You know, I'm like, that's kind of a weird move. If it was someone we would know, they probably would have come
We're
in.
in sketchy South City.
We're in the hood, man. We don't make any
Right by my old
qualms about it. Like it's something that we talk about happening from time to time. And so I go out there, and this dude's like, "So you're the one, huh?" And I go, "Excuse me?" And he goes, "You're like the Grand Wizard. You're the dragon."
He's a dirty little guy.
You're the dragon?
squatting in the house next door.
And I go, "Buddy, I'm not sure what the dragon is. I'm just gonna level with you here."
Did you touch him?
Oh yeah. So
You
he's
touched
hang
that
on a
dude.
minute, bud. So I can tell he's on one, right?
Yeah.
He sits down and he goes, "You're just gonna think I'm
Not that I don't want to touch people like that. I'm just saying, like, that was a risk.
He goes, "You're just gonna think I'm crazy," and I go, "Buddy, you happen to stumble upon one of the few people in the world that doesn't think anybody's crazy,
Especially right now."
So let's have a little chat." He's like, "Oh man, we'll go inside." He goes, "I'll put this stuff down. We'll go inside. We'll have a little conversation." And I go,
Jesus.
"Nah, it's not gonna work like that." I was like, "We're gonna sit here. We're gonna have a little talk." I was like, "I got a private party going on in there, bud." He's like, "So you're the
Imperial
wizard?
Wizard.
You're the Imperial Wizard?" I go, "Wait, what? What?
This
What's
is the
going on
Spanish
here?"
Society.
Yeah. So this guy, I know that he's accusing me of being a clan member, leader.
Yeah.
Okay, because he's calling me like the Grand Imperial Wizard. So I'm like, no, dude. We've got people from all over state just came in to have a private party. We're dancing in there. I think like Cardi B was playing. I'm like, yeah, a lot of fucking Klan members are getting down to wet ass pussy. Out there. Like,
that was one of the best nights, best moments of the night.
It was
too.
fucking
Your brother
great.
and Jenna walking into that song.
100%. So this is going on. And I'm like, I tell you what, dude, he's mumbling, dude. He's on one.
Oh,
he's strung. He's strung way the
strung.
fuck out. And I'm like, hey man, I'll tell you what. He goes, I'm afraid people are trying to drug me. I'm afraid that the whole world's after me. I mean, he's really freaking out. And so I'm like, buddy,
God damn, you're touching him.
can I? Oh yeah. Well, yeah.
I know that's just
I'm just trying to let him know, and I got CJ.
Because like, guess what?
Know.
I got a knife.
I was watching his hands the whole time because I was
watching his hands.
I was
watch that one. Yeah, I already stabbed you.
I
already stabbed you in that vein.
Yeah, well, okay. Well, so now I'm high and I killed you.
Okay. God.
You're
So I put my hand on his shoulder.
Okay.
I'm like, buddy, can I let me get you a beer.
Yeah.
It's my tried and true move. Let me get you a beer. Let's have a conversation. I was like, what do you drink? I guess I'll take a Budweiser. I'm like, okay. He's like, listen, I'm afraid to go back out there. I got people after me or whatever. And I'm like, you can sit right here on these steps, but you can't come in.
In an abandoned house.
And that we're getting that taken care of, hopefully. But anyway, so I sit there. I have this whole conversation. It goes on forever. Like, CJ's he's got my six, man. He's
really?
He's making sure that nothing.
I heard he ran away down the street.
Yeah, as soon as the guy goes, so you're the dragon? Chris is like, what the fuck's the dragon? And he got out of there.
Chugging it down.
Dragon? There haven't been dragons in these parts for hundreds of years. So I end up talking this guy kind of down or whatever.
No, you didn't.
Yeah, a little bit. Well, no, he was fine. He was fine. I come in, I tell Steve this. Then I come in, and everyone's like, "Oh, you missed a whole thing. A stripper showed up for Steve, asked for Elgina." I'm like, "Well, they got to be in on the joke if they know they asked for Elgina. Like that. What's the big deal? What's the problem, guys? Like, know the play, haha. No, okay."
So Jen's like, "Oh, Steve hired a stripper," and I'm like.
So
no, I don't know.
So Steve and I, as we do at many of these events, like we had a moment whenever they were dancing. Like there's always like a handful of moments throughout these nights where we just kind of sit in gratitude and just kind of take in everything that's happening. That is even bigger and better than we could have anticipated it being. And so many people made that possible. James Thomas took it to the next level with the lights and the setup.
Oh, that was huge.
Miss went and got some decorations. We had a whole little prom picture little area, and everything was really cool. And I'm sitting there talking to Steve, and I'm like, "Hey, bud, I'm sorry I missed that whole stripper episode, but turns out I'm the dragon."
He's the dragon.
And he goes, "What?" I go, "Some dude said he looked in my eyes. He's seen it before, and he sees the dragon lives in me."
And
Steve's like,
"No,
you're the dragon.
You're the dragon.
You're the fucking dragon. What's the guy drinking? I'm like, no. I promise you, you do not want to do that.
I gotta see this for myself.
He's like, no one's gonna call you the fucking dragon. That is not happening.
Tonight on my watch.
I'm going. Not no way.
I'm a dragon too. Then
I'm a dragon. He's a dragon. I'm a dragon.
If he's a dragon, I'm a dragon.
He goes, "You're the dragon." I'm like, "Well, I only went there for half semester, just down the street."
Yeah, I'm a cadet.
So,
what was that?
It was patronizing. It was a patronizing little laugh, is what it was. It was me forcing a laugh.
I've heard that before. I got that one locked in.
So it was like a weird night all around. It was, but we ended up.
No, I went outside. Then me and Zach go outside because I got to take a look-see. Okay, I got to see what's going on out there. I get out there within 7 seconds. I'm in way over my head. I realize, way over your head, bud. You know. No, so he's like, "Hey, man." And I'm like, "What's your name? What's your story, man?" He's like, "No, I can tell you my name, man. I'm telling you, I'm Captain Save-A-Ho. I'm just saving people off the streets." And I'm like,
he was convinced of it.
I'm like, "Cool, I'm actually from this neighborhood back in the day. Like, I kind of get it, but you are dangerous. Like, just so, I mean, you are, like, capable of anything right now. Just, I do know that just from growing up in this area." He's like, "Can I get my buddy? My buddy can go in the party." And I go, "The dragon's not letting anybody else in. The dragon's not letting I totally threw it on you. Me and Zach are out there, and I'm like, they're not letting anybody else in. What an asshole. I'm so inclusive. These guys, I felt like were a danger.
Great.
They were a danger. They
were. I couldn't have them in an open crowd.
I can have them.
I couldn't have them in an open crowd. I could sit next to him on the stoop. I could keep kind of track of what's going on.
This little Kurt Cobain looking kid comes out. Did you see him?
Yeah, it looked a lot like the Elephant Graveyard in Lion King. Like all of a
Weird.
sudden the hyenas just kind of started multiplying
Yes.
over there. And
I don't want to call them hyenas. That's
I'm calling them
rude.
fucking hyenas.
But just a kid who lost his way, you know. And he was out there, and I'm like, "So, what's your story, man?" He's like, already like done with my shit. You know what I mean? Like, hey, Mr. Happy Guy, I live in this fucking. Like the Oscar the Grouch joke from Dave Chappelle.
Bitch, I live in a trash can.
I live in a trash can. Why do you think I'm so grouchy? It's the same thing to him. I'm like, hey, we're having a party over here. You can't come. Want a beer?
Fuck them.
Want to sit in solitude? And so, Zach and I we moved the conversation because he's standing by the door. And we're like, whoa, holy shit, man. Cool. So then we walk up to the front area because we got to.
Did you go out the side?
Yes.
Oh.
And he was standing right there. And we're like, oh, my God.
He had the high ground.
Yeah, dude, I got out of that situation.
Yeah, that's
real
not a
quick.
spot
I got
you
high
wanna be.
ground.
Yeah.
Zach stayed on the low ground.
Yeah. Well, I would have sacrificed Zach too.
He went to sleep. He was going first. He's like, "Are you a Billiken?
Junior
You're
Bill?
the Billiken.
You're Junior Bill?
You're the Billiken." He can see the high school people went to.
Yeah, that's the whole deal. He saw me as the dragon. He saw you dressed up as a little cadet.
Hey, guys. So anyway, we end up getting away from him, and I was worried that people leaving all night were just going to be ambushed.
I walked every person out.
We walked everybody out.
Yeah, well, that's fine.
I walked every person out. I got big muscles.
Steve
My name's Craig. I was out there just flexing.
Imposing
on
your
people.
will,
yeah,
brother.
Dude, I'd just come out there and I was kind of stand like this. Like,
back to the party. We got these people. We got these people hanging outside. Meanwhile, inside, it's fucking awesome. People are dressed to the nines. Like, it was second chance, secondhand prom.
that's what that one dude started doing. Fucking Liz Bueller's fucking wild card ass friend.
Who was
Jesus
awesome, by the way.
Right, I loved him.
He was great.
I loved
Maybe
him.
not the best for that situation.
Wait, not good at all.
That was hours later.
Because that dude was like, you got the white supremacist party. He's like, it ain't that at all, man. I got a dog. And I'm like, what is the conversation happening?
It was
Well, that doesn't make
crazy.
any sense what they're talking about.
It was
and
crazy.
then it went from like, man, you don't talk much, do you? Like, he's getting all up on him. I'm like, what are you doing, man?
Madman.
He's like, I got this. I'm like, do you know these people? He's like, no, I got this. You don't talk much, do you? I'm like, why are you getting so close? What's going on here? And then he's like, oh, okay. And we're walking backside. He's like, fuck you.
Dude.
Fuck you. I'm like,
Dude.
we don't do that. What? We don't do that. That's not this little group here. What? And Liz, she's baby. I love that our new
Liz
friend
is Southside royalty. She's Southside royalty.
She is. She's like, give me a fucking
Missy-
beer. I'm a shotgun.
Missy
that shit
said
right
that
now.
she and Jen were sitting there, and they were like looking at us, look at Liz, and they were like, just talking about how much we love lesbians.
Yes.
And it is the truth, man.
It is the straight
Liz is
truth.
a fucking, she's a
The
ride
pictures
or
were
die.
like, oh.
Liz is the one that you're always glad is on your team.
Fucking right.
She's the fucking best.
Saw her out drink all the toughest dudes in high school. Like, all just the toughest
The
dudes.
biggest, toughest
Yeah,
dudes.
she'd be like,
drink them under the
pussy.
table.
I
Get out of
know.
here, pussy.
I know.
She's the fucking best. We love Liz. Well, apparently when they showed, because they showed up late.
Yes, they did.
So when they showed up, the dude was like, you're not going in there. The dude outside. And she's like, yeah, actually, it's our party we're going to. So already there's friction. There's friction in the
Jesus
camps.
Christ.
We go on for a couple of hours. Now the party's moved downstairs. We're dancing. We're throwing some Rana. We're having a good time. People are kind of going. I mean,
the karaoke at the end of the night was fucking awesome.
Karaoke was phenomenal. Matt Neal surprised me.
Matt Neal.
Matt got us. Sang
Jenna.
my favorite Sturgill Simpson song.
Did I miss that?
Yeah, he sang "You Can Have the Crown."
Oh man.
Yeah, my dude. Jenna kills it as always. You know, did a little Florence and the Machine. She slayed it. It was awesome. And it's like, so the theme of it was secondhand, second chance prom, and so people went and got like these hand-me-down dresses. And dude, everybody that showed up looked fucking aces, bud. I mean, gals in elegant gowns. Aces. Everybody looked amazing. And I don't think it could have went better. I honestly don't. I mean, outside of
Only if I would have won Prom King. That would have only been the better thing.
Because it was your first one?
Yeah. I didn't get Prom King at my first prom that I threw.
It's kind of strange. You know, you think about
That's
like
stupid.
who votes in an all boys school for prom king? Like who does that?
We did. We didn't. We did. We may have had that.
That's weird.
Why? You're like the coolest dude. Who you want to kiss?
Oh, okay.
I mean, if you could be inside anyone else's skin, that's how I always imagined it.
Oh yeah, inside.
Like if
their
I could
skin,
wear
not
somebody
just
else's
inside of
skin.
them,
All right, we're gonna segue in, and the reason we have events like that is because the world seems shitty sometimes. In a few moments, it doesn't seem so shitty.
I agree. What do you?
This is what.
Steve, what's the topic? Oh, cow fart juice.
One more time.
Cow fart juice is a potent herbal remedy for topical use on skin discomforts due to wounds or a microbial presence. Soften skin fibers in their healing phase in order to reduce future scarring and post-breakup
What's
redness.
that picture?
It's
a valve on
they're,
a cow ass.
they're
That cow ass
catching
doesn't
the
look good.
farts so that they can deliver them elsewhere. Correct.
Hey, buddy, you ever heard of the online disinhibition effect?
I have no idea what that is, bud.
Okay, look at some of these real quick. We're just going to break this down real quick, then we're going to get into the weeds on you a little bit. This online disinhibition effect, all right? So disassociative anonymity. You don't know me online. It's like you don't really know me.
You're just an
kinda,
avatar.
Yes, exactly.
There's no physical repercussions.
Yes. The see you later. So it's like, oh, I messaged this. You might not get to 4 hours later. If we're having a face-to-face interaction,
We got to deal
it's
with it right
immediate.
now.
It's
We got to deal with it
immediate.
right now.
You can stew on a fucking comment for days, dude.
100%.
So that's another. It's all in my head. So you're getting like. You're almost like reading text messages. You ever read the text message to somebody and you're like, "Oh, fuck you, bitch," and they're like, "Wait a minute, I was just saying
Totally.
that."
Yeah,
you
you're reading-
misread
you're reading
the
tone. You're reading
because
tone.
you kind of feel like a shithead in your own heart, and then you read it like a piece of shit. So your rules don't apply here. Minimization of status and authority. So like, I this is one I was like, because like there's some. And it's weird because there's authority figures that you kind of
it plays into the anonymity.
Well,
you know
also-
someone that has status.
Yes, online status.
Yeah.
Like they getting a lot of likes all the time. They're
It's
kind
an
of
easy way to hijack their account to get your message heard.
Yeah, or you don't really want to go against someone who has a lot of firepower behind them.
Yeah, for
You
lack
know?
of getting canceled yourself and shouted down.
Exactly. I'm gonna fuck with that. So that was something interesting I saw on there. And you can look this stuff up because look at this. This has been around since I think 2004.
2004, June 2004.
So we've been talking about this since 2004, and right now we are reaching up the precipice.
At that
of
point,
the
high-speed
peak.
internet is starting to become in everybody's living room.
And if you can see this is one of the, it's cited in this, misinformation sharing and social media fatigue during COVID-19. Like, I think we're all reaching a point.
We talked about it.
There.
We talked about it.
And this is another interesting article. I've shared this on the page a couple times, and of course this gets buried in the feed. This is about how, shut up, Seth. This is about how, kind of what we were alluding to earlier about how road rage, you can be in your car and say, "Fuck you, mother." Well, you've seen all the Craig moments. You've seen all the Craig moments where you've watched. I know you watch your Craig lives right after you get done with
100%. Yeah, I love my son, my own voice.
And so to see, like, when you're getting like kind of like, bro, what's this guy doing?
I mean
If
it
someone
too.
cuts you off in real life in line, you wouldn't say the same things you would.
Yeah, probably not.
You maybe.
Nah, probably would. I don't know.
Jesus Christ, that's okay.
Killed it.
So I can't really read that shit. It doesn't matter. But that leads us into that. That's on our page at Sophisticated Hoosiers. Maybe we'll share it from some other places too.
I will put it in the Discord server.
Let me get us back to the
wherever else.
Main chat. But Craig, how do we navigate the world where we're constantly on social media, online, and where it seems like civil discourse is dead? How do we navigate these waters now before it turns into a powder keg and kills us all?
I think it has to turn into a powder keg.
You think so?
I think it is turning. I think it has turned into a powder keg. I think talking about the COVID, the fatigue of misinformation, and not even just information, the fatigue of constant fucking information. Like, okay, so one thing we're seeing is in a world with a 24-hour news cycle, the first people to report on something. That's like the new badge of honor for media outlets, for news or whatever.
Sure.
To be the first person to tweet something, trade news, whatever. We've seen this with sports forever. But it's also, you know, with COVID, what's interesting is we're hit with this medical, you know, anomaly. And it still hasn't had the opportunity to really go through the scientific process, or it is actively going through. I mean, we're learning some things, but people are they're wanting to report it right away, and these studies aren't getting checked by they're not necessarily peer reviewed, and there's other stories that maybe refute the claims, and it's always been like just different narratives pushed from different angles, and buddy, it is tiresome. I've gotten to a point where, like, you know, if a meme has like some comedic value or something like that, something that keeps it a little lighthearted, like I'm down with it, you know. But anymore, like, especially with since what's happened with George Floyd and everything. I mean, a cop getting shot. You know, here 2 cops getting shot in St. Louis, 1 passing away. Thanks for checking on that, Mike, for us. Here in St. Louis, like, I'm to the point now where I'm like, today, we just found out this morning this officer passed away. Like, maybe today, because you're a human that wants to see some change.
Isn't there always one?
100%. So then, as I'm thinking that, because it's fresh on the brain, like,
well, and
it's always like when a school shooting happens, people are like, they can't fucking wait to give the statistics.
Well, that gives
on
them
guns or vice versa.
That's some sort of value they are giving themselves, and maybe think they're giving the world, but also it's kind of a badge of honor, something to feed the beast that says, I was the first to kind of make a joke or say what needs to be said. And we live in a time where it's like, some of y'all ain't getting this right now. We're so quick to judge someone for having a different set of views, a different set of all these little steps that happened for the last 36 years of their life. Every aspect from since they were born has had an impact on their life. And we're supposed to think, oh, we're supposed to think similar to that person? Kind of. I always try to think, what do we have in common? What does every human have in common? We breathe air. Yeah. We need water. We kind of have the same insides going on. A
little bit. Yeah, but we don't have the same physical
I'm just saying, like,
experience.
A heart, a lungs,
yeah,
but then
okay.
people have kidneys, 1 lung, you know,
people,
so like even the insides are kind of different, like DNA strands
we got
are
a heartbeat.
different. Like what unites all of us, you know, and I think it's a real small list of what is like the same about each person. And if you believe in the thing of you know, we're all one thing learning about itself and the universe is learning about itself, kind of go back to the John C. Lilly shit and how it could all
poop. Except for Kim Jong-un.
Yeah, I know. It's weird, man. It's
so
crazy.
weird. And then butthole.
Cool. I get it. But the connectivity of everything, I don't know, man. You think it'd be easier to get everybody on board with something that you deem as positive, but it seems that everyone is so quick to jump to the negative, at least from, and maybe that's my perception, just seeing those, focusing on those things. Maybe I'm focusing on the negative because I try to focus on our group and all the good things that happen in there. But then you hear somebody say, oh, you know, I posted this meme, and then it just devolves into, well, and I always feel like that's somebody having a bad day. They got a little bit of extra pent-up energy.
Got to get some shit out.
I got to get some. That's how I used to fight on the internet. I asked if people like to fight on the internet. People are like, kind of, not really, you know, it devolves. When we have the greatest tool of all time to talk to each other, and now we say, hey, we got this awesome tool, but I can't fucking talk to you. So we're just going to kind of fucking use this as an echo chamber to dig deeper into my own psychologies, you know, and arguing online has actually shown that people dig in deeper to their ideologies after that, which is crazy. You know, you try to persuade someone.
Well, because, okay, so with the internet, there is, you have a infinite library at your disposal that you can corroborate what you think. Both sides can do it. And what the internet shows us, that, you know, I think people really want to get past, because we now exist in like a global economy, you know, where we can communicate with people on the other side of the world. So the interconnectedness of all of us is better than it's ever been. Our ability to communicate around the globe, around this whole living thing, is as good as it's ever been. But it also I just lost my train of thought. Jesus.
The kids are upstairs.
They're just having a heyday.
Jen.
So come on, Jen, get them together.
Come on, Jen.
But
What's going on up there? Get it together! God dang it!
So no,
that's okay. I'm just kidding, honey. I love
just,
you. I'm
just
kidding.
Totally just joking.
If it was Ivan, good.
It's all good.
It's okay.
So what it is so we are experiencing
Daddy loves you.
Interconnectedness of all things, and we're able to communicate with them on a scale we've never been able to do that before. However, in our programming, in our evolutionary programming, we are tribal by nature, right? And so the digital space,
we're naughty by nature.
We're also naughty by nature. The digital space is now where we form our little communities, right? It's not physical borders that we have to move across, because
but we turn our digital into physical.
A little bit,
with
yeah.
Prom.
But 100%. That and we have that ability. We have that ability to do that. But as far as moving around, people are now spending more of their waking reality in the digital space. I don't know if they're spending a majority of it. I'd have to see the numbers on that, just based on, poorer countries, latency, all of these things people can communicate. But it seems like in the Western world, or in the the advanced world, most people are online probably. I mean, what's the Facebook analytics? Like, the average person checks like 40 times a day or something, checks there, maybe more than that with the phones. I mean,
well, with what we do, I'm on it
always
constantly, dude.
So half of our reality is no longer attached to this physical space. It's not us sitting outside with the neighbors having a beer until the street lights come on and our kids come home from playing. Even our kids are playing online. Yeah, we're online in our
groups. Fucking neighbors
and
are stupid. You know what I mean? Like, you don't want to sit after talk to them.
I think that people have suffered stupid neighbors and made friends with them. Red Foreman and Pinciotti. What's his name?
I don't know.
Donna's
I know.
dad. Donna's dad.
Yeah.
Red suffered him all the time. He's still his neighbor. They're still.
It was a TV show, Craig.
This happened all the time. This is how people
like
live.
30 minutes at a time.
Okay,
it's
Wilson,
30 minutes at
Tim
a time.
Allen, you get it?
I get that. If I had a Wilson on my next door, a guy giving you
be
gifts,
awesome. Just
all
dropping
day,
dimes
all
on
day,
you. Dropping little fucking dimes on you.
Yeah,
all
that's
the time.
not a typical neighbor. Okay, go ahead. Let's turn them on.
Mike, get up in that mic, bud.
So there's almost
4.5 billion people that were active internet users for every hour in the month of July 2020. That is 59% of the global population.
Every hour, 60%. 60% of the world is online at any given time.
What's wrong with you people?
So now it's this new evolution that we're trying to figure out, and technology is evolving faster than we are, and so we're trying to learn how to communicate with that. We're also learning how to exist within that, and we become tribal, and we find people that think the way that we think. And on the internet, when these things happen, it's like, oh, okay, it's the fucking dead rabbits and the the true sons of fucking New York or whatever, the natives or whatever. It's like all these fucking gangs all of a sudden, they're squaring off like fucking Anchorman. And it's like, well, I got my crew here and we all think that masks are bullshit. And I got my crew here and we think all of you that think masks are bullshit are science-denying people haters that want everybody to die, which is a crazy thing to put on anybody. To be like, my point is this, and because you don't think the way that I do, chances are you just want to kill people. Or you just hate this group of people.
You're a racist.
Or this, or this, or this. And it's like, and I blame world leaders. Like the conversation has devolved to appeal to less educated people. People are easily duped online. There's a generation that is growing up with the internet and so knows the internet, knows how easy it is to put bullshit on the internet. There's a group of people with 4chan that create things. Like, they create these trollish things that take off like wildfire. And that happens everywhere. But it's like this, there's a whole generation that understands that there is a more gullible generation that will eat it up hook, line, and sinker. And that is a temporary symptom of a, of a pretty big problem, right? Like, there are people that, I mean, dude, I still have to help, a generation, 2 generations older than us, just with like the simplest tech things on computers, just the simplest things. Like it missed them, that whole thing missed them, and they're like, just give me enough info to get by so that I can exist in this world. And yet, they're also going to be the first ones to share something that's not factual or to do the work. And then it's doubly frustrating when you go and you do some research, and these people and you can back up a claim, and that's when you start to realize the futility. And like I'm all about having open discourse. I really am. I always hope that's what Sophisticated Hoosiers would be. A place where people can present different ideas, no matter how weird they are, no matter how different they are from our own, and people could talk about it. And it's just the fuck. And I also chalk it up to an election year, at which people are always just kind of doubly nasty during election year because the tribes, the tribal nature of all of us really filter into just 2 big tribes.
Yeah.
And there's some people on the outside like, you both look like fucking idiots to me, and that's always going to exist. But that's not. And I actually would dare, like, we're still in a spot where I don't think like the vocal minority that represents both, extremes of ideologies. I don't think that's how a majority of people think. I think that there is a huge swath in the middle that are trying to communicate a little bit more intelligently, a little bit more responsibly, but it's still the headlines. It's still that shit that tragedy sells.
Got breaking news.
What
we got a phone call. Breaking news. This is a new thing. We got a phone call. I believe it's from the Dolphin, from your John C. Lilly story. It's Peter. Peter the Dolphin. Hey, Peter the Dolphin. You're on.
Pete the Dolphin. Hey. Ooh. How you guys doing?
Oh, well, Peter, how are you? You got to be like 150 years old, Peter, in Dolphin years.
Oh yeah, and I'm still busting it out, if you know what I mean.
Did you? Are you still living with that chick?
No, that's fine. No, go ahead. Play with the dolphin balls.
Are you being serviced right now?
Steve?
Yeah, we're here. We're still here. What just happened? What just happened?
Are we on radio?
You're on the internet.
Ooh, that's even better. I've been there before.
What does that mean?
Oh, I just got done. You're right. Yep, I'm still in the lab. You know what I mean?
It's kind of weird that you decided to not call us afterwards and rather during.
Oh, I didn't know. No.
How did you
my girl's still here. If, I got 1 digit.
That's a fertile digit.
Very much so.
This kid can move around a lot.
Hey, when you're around this long, you figure out things. Technology,
I told you, dude. John C. Lilly knew they were smart.
Yeah, well, I appreciate you guys telling my story tonight, and it was a little embarrassing at first. Nobody's really, put that on the internets. Yep, there it is.
Is she doing it again?
Okay.
Jesus. All right.
That's the worst dolphin.
All right, Peter.
All right, Peter, we're going to have to let you go.
That's enough,
All right, thanks, guys, for the time. I appreciate it. You guys got a great show.
All right, thanks, Peter the Dolphin.
All right, bye.
That was Peter the Dolphin, ladies and gentlemen.
It's fucking a little bit weird calling mid-stroke. He's getting a Western
That's
from
his
somebody
life,
else
man.
with an unencumbered thumb.
That's his life.
I can't wait to blow a wad. We're having a serious conversation here.
Do you want to hit him with streaming picks since that's not a nice segue?
If you didn't have anything to,
I didn't have anything to
contribute
add.
there.
Here's what I'll end that on. And I actually had a deeper ranging question. Maybe we'll get into this next week. But can anger win you over at all? Can anger or vitriol, can someone being angry with you win you over?
No, I've never been convinced by somebody.
Well, I mean, like even like a coach or a parent or a teacher that like was more disappointed, got angry.
Can somebody?
And someone who doesn't get angry a lot gets angry at you. You're kind of like, fuck, that person never gets mad. Like, and I just kind of pissed him off because I wonder. I want all of the emotions. I want to balance all the emotions, but some emotions are deemed as bad or sad or, you know, like you don't want to be sad. You don't want to be angry. You don't want to make decisions from emotional places, but you don't want to go pure Vulcan. You know, you want to still live and be human and experience all things. So can anger ever win you over?
Yeah, I think so. If the
I
person,
changed his tune
hold
quick.
on, I think if the person, if
tune
you
real
already know the person, and they
settle down.
and you know that they care about you, care about your well-being, you know, coaches put an outrageous amount of time into, you know, raising not just athletes but just better humans. Like or parents the same way. Like when you're mad, it's not necessary. I mean, well, kids will do some shit that'll piss you off.
100%.
But also, it's because like you're like it's equal parts disappointment, and when you feel the letting someone else down, who you know cares about you and is trying to make you a better person, then their anger, I think, translates differently. Now, a random fucking stranger screaming at me has never convinced me anything.
Yeah, fuck that guy immediately or girl.
Totally.
Fuck
Now I'm digging in. You know, whatever world it is that you want to see, I'll fucking burn it. If this is the world that
you
you're
gotta
trying
fix
to
that.
cultivate,
You gotta fix that about yourself, right?
If this is the world you're trying to fucking make, where people can be like you, then fuck that world. I'm a destroyer of worlds. I'm Shiva, motherfucker. You hear me?
Oppenheimer over here. I am become death, destroyer of worlds. But is that something that you feel like you need to change about yourself?
I think that we can be motivated by anger. I think that I think when our anger is shared, or when you see why, when you can understand, when you're empathetic enough to understand why someone's angry, then you can maybe be swayed to at least ask for some change or something. But it's like there is a point, right, where it's like, there is a point where your kid who you're trying to reason with, who is throwing a tantrum or whatever, like there's a breaking point where it's like, I will suffer this for a little while.
So we kick him out of the house.
I will suffer this for a little while, but pretty soon I'm fucking selling you to the mines, bud.
Yeah. They're still accepting people in mines.
West Virginia is awash with coal. Okay.
West Virginia,
Mountain Mama,
take me home.
That's why I taught Trevor the song, just in case.
Country chode.
Nailed it. Hey, so I mean, I've never been won over by anybody's anger ever. I've been motivated by people's
fuck you, idiot. Okay. All right. You ready to do this?
Yeah, sure. Whatever. I don't even know what I watch.
We like movies. So do ye. We like internet. So do you. It's the streaming
picks of the week, and Netflix it's the streaming picks of the week. We like the internet too. The streaming picks of the week. We like the internet too. We like the internet too. We like the internet. We do. 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 We die. We die. We.
The Crossroads. We like the internet too, and Dolphin handjobs.
Whoa, are we in a theater in space?
Whoa, bro.
Whoa. I'm just trying to get out of the way. I wasn't trying to blow you.
Yeah, okay.
Guys, I got one for the ages.
What do you got, Steve? What are you watching this week?
Thank you. Don't. How dare you? What I've been watching this week,
Craig.
Craig.
Really hard trying to remember what I watched this week. Mike,
look
is
on
my
your
phone
phone
over there.
No, bud. Don't worry, because I might.
Found it. No,
I'll just
never
take
mind.
the
It's a phone
reins.
case.
I'll take the goddamn reins on this one.
Take the reins, brother.
I watched something on Netflix that it had to have been on there before. I think it's been on there for a while is what I'm saying. It's called The Last Shaman. Holy crap. I got to contact the guy who made that movie. It is unreal. It's a lot of the stuff we've talked about on this show before. It's a guy who is as depressed as you can get. He grew up in an affluent neighborhood on the East Coast, went to all the best schools.
It's on Netflix? I've seen this. Yes. Great flick.
The Last Shaman.
Yep.
Oh my God, the way the
Affluent
cinematography
kid,
is.
came from all the dough.
Yeah, it reminded me of Into the Wild a little bit, that he was searching for what his real meaning was in the world, man.
Massively depressed.
Yes, massively depressed. Like, he was getting mad. He's like, I see a beautiful woman, I feel nothing. I see a sunset, I feel nothing. And you can tell he is dead on the inside. You can see it already. So he gives himself 10 months. He says, after 10 months, I'll give myself the ability, the go ahead to kill myself, because I've tried for 10 months.
Correct.
So then he ends up going to Peru. The first shaman he finds, okay, when he first gets to Peru, you start to see all these people, because we've talked about how ayahuasca has become this cool thing, when we were talking about it years ago. No, but when it was talked about years ago, there wasn't that much of an industry. Now it has become like a little industry in Peru, so you start to see these guys who are like, hey, best ayahuasca over here, we'll take care of you, come over this way, so it's this whole money thing. Finds this guy Guillermo. He's still coming off his antidepressants. He goes to an ayahuasca ceremony. He's watching everyone trip. The cinematography starts getting crazy, where it's flashing in and out. You start to see this guy. He's dying. A guy, he's bleeding from the mouth. They're calling for medics. Like, it is chaos, dude. Someone dies at an ayahuasca ceremony where you have to still go on your journey. Oh my God, that's like worst case scenario.
That'd be pretty fucking heavy.
And
man.
so this guy Guillermo was working with all these other gringos who were coming there, and they were going to open up this center, and they started this pack or some sort of governmental group down there in Peru, that they were the ones who could kind of watch over this. But Guillermo was going to be the one. He told him, he's like, I told that guy not to drink the ayahuasca, and he wanted to. And so the kid who's the documentary's about, he's like, I'm pissed off. I can't believe this place would allow like that kind of negligence.
This years ago, yeah.
Oh man, it's wild. I knew it had to be on there.
Yeah. No, I think it used to be on Prime.
Oh, did it?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, because I was like, ooh, I've never seen this on here before. So he has to find a different shaman. Well, then he goes into the Peruvian jungle and finds this gringo. They go find this gringo, and he is a freaky looking, like Hell's Angel type.
South Broadway, dude.
Yes,
no
dude.
doubt.
Like big teeth and bald hair, and he looks all crazy, and he's
that was like Riff Raff from Rocky Horror.
Yeah. Oh yeah, totally. That's great. That's a great. Yeah. And so he has his own way of doing.
He's
things.
also an ex-felon.
Been in prison for 7 years. Was a drug addict, addicted, alcoholic. All these kind of weird pasts. But you're like, okay, I'll put that behind me. But he's still kind of a little strange. And he says, a real shaman won't charge any money. I charge money, And he says that in the thing, and you're like, this is all kind of weird, So then that guy ends up making enough money where, and so the main character, James, I think his name is, he ends up staying with him for a while. So now he's just staying in Peru for a couple months, stays with this guy. This guy says, nope, you can't. And spoiler alert, I'm going to go through this whole thing. So he says, you got to get out of here. We're selling this place. We're moving to somewhere else. You got to go. So now he's got to find another shaman. So he goes to like another little village.
He's just bouncing around the jungle with strangers.
And he just is like, kill me. If I die, I die. If I don't care at this point. I have tried everything. I just want to live, man. So he goes and finds this guy who's just kind of a guy. He's got gold teeth, just kind of a young guy, and you can tell this guy kind of just like looks pure, feels pure. They're hanging out for a while, and he's like, well, if you really want to start, and all these gringos are coming down, and Guillermo, the first guy, is going to teach all these gringos how to be shamans. He's going to teach them all he's going to start that clinic, and all these white people are going to come down there and be shamans. So it's like, okay, that's kind of weird. Well, this guy kind of works in that village, but he's not on their list of people who can practice. So he sends the main character out for 170 days, I think, or something like that, where he only diets off rice and fish, and he dines with 5 or 6 different plants.
Yes.
So he's dining with all of them, and he's documenting everything. He's like, oh, last night I had a dream. Mother ayahuasca came down, and he's dining off other plants too, not just ayahuasca.
No, yeah, plenty of plant.
All of and he has like a week where he'd do one, a week where he had to do the next one, just eating rice and fish.
Until the plant spirit came and told him what he needed to do. He would dine with that plant.
Yes. And so eventually he gets to these plants, and one reaches into his side and starts pulling everything out, and he's like, it's killing him, but he knew it was good. One is he had to see everybody he's ever loved in his life die. Like, all of these just madness, dude. All of the craziest shit. So then he goes through all that. You can tell he's changed. By 3/4 of the way through, he is changed, man. Like, he's like, oh, all of these things I have to live up to are constructs built by other people.
Right.
He wanted to play soccer. He stopped playing soccer because it just didn't fit into the mold of what he needed to do.
Right.
So he started playing soccer in the village, and you can see him. He's diving. He's going around because at first he'd just watch him play soccer.
Yep.
Comes out of this plant ceremony. Now he's after maybe it was 120 days. But it was
like
maybe
4 months.
Yeah. Okay.
It was actually, I think you're right. I think it was closer to a half a year.
Okay, I thought it was.
Yeah, it was close to 6 months.
Because he goes from being bald, kind of like this haircut, to like being a pretty.
He's got a pretty good
dude.
shag on him. Yeah.
Well, then they have this moment where him and the shaman. I forget what the shaman with the gold teeth.
He was great.
So great, dude. Guillermo was the other guy, but this guy,
Don Miguel.
They're singing a song together, and they're just sitting face to face, just locking eyes, and he's like. Singing the Icaros, and he's going through and he's just looking at him and he's like, this is a guy who hasn't really smiled in any part of the documentary in a half a year, since the whole time. And he's sitting across from this dude and he's like, when you sing, I hear it's like the plants when the plants were singing to me. So the guy goes, hey man, you gonna sing me a song? And he's like, okay. And he's like, hey, Tennessee girl. And starts like, he just sings this beautiful song about like Tennessee creeks. And like, I don't know if I'm sure it's probably a real song or whatever, but I'm like, oh. And the shaman's looking at him and they both like are tearing up, just looking at each other, singing these songs to each other after this dude was ready to kill himself. He's going to kill himself. So he comes out of it. Then they end up kicking the shaman out of the village because he's practicing ayahuasca and he's not part of this group.
And they're building a big giant retreat center.
They build a big retreat center and he's not part of the retreat center. So they kick him and his family out of the village. The dude's just got to go travel. He's just got to go fucking some other place in Peru and figure it out. So the dude's like, oh man, and it actually ends. He never ends up finding that guy ever again. His shaman buddy never really got to say goodbye and stuff. But it was the craziest thing to me. So you have all these people coming down there to be the shaman, right? They're like, yeah, I'm going to build this center. And you can tell when they're saying stuff, they're like, the money's going to bring in tourism dollars and we're going to be able to build stuff. And all the old locals are like, we don't need that. Life is pure as it gets in this little village right now. We don't need the influx of money. Everything's fine. And at the end, the story of the guy that you'd never think this guy who's going to kill himself, he'd never be the shaman. But by the end, that shaman goes, you know who'd make a great shaman? Him.
Right.
He just went through it, not knowing that he needed to do it, knowing that he needed to do something, but he was on the path to becoming the gringo shaman that he didn't even know. He did the work when all these other people who wanted it was all an ego though. Yeah, it was exactly. And his ego, he was ready to kill everything. Ego death, I'll kill myself. That's an ego death right there. He was ready for it. And to see his smiles at the end on the interview, he's like, well, I'm still alive. And he's laughing his ass off. And you're like, oh my God, dude, it was life changing, man. Very powerful documentary.
I'll revisit it. It's been a couple of years since I've seen that, but I remember it being pretty powerful because, one of the things is like with any kind of psychedelic documentaries, they're trying their best, and it's awesome when they
the cinematography was so
when
good
they go into the
one,
jungle.
Dude.
It's obviously it's a lot better, and it's like it's hard to watch people in psychedelic ceremony because there's nothing to see.
They do one of the best jobs ever.
The theater is in the mind,
noises,
right?
But dude, when you close your eyes on a hardcore psychedelic trip, some of the moments I felt kind of like Fear and Loathing. Totally. Some of the moments in that, I'm like, ooh, I kind of feel in me.
Yes.
I kind of feel that vibe right now. And that movie did a beautiful job of giving you that
anxiety, but also know that like you bought the ticket, take the fucking ride,
No doubt.
buddy.
Yep.
This might get a little scary.
Yeah.
That's why you that's why you did this.
Only the good roller coasters are.
Yes,
Yeah,
dude.
Yeah.
So that's
For
my
sure.
pick for the week.
It's a great pick, man.
And watch V is for Vendetta. That's only on Netflix for I think 1 or 2 more nights.
Missy's never
V
seen
is
it, so we
for
might have to do
Vendetta.
that one tonight.
Oh my God! Watch it now, and it has way more meaning than it did even back then.
No, I mean it's pretty topical.
Yeah,
I mean the plot line is pretty much fucking on point. Mikey, what are you watching, brother?
Lovecraft Country. It's on HBO. It's an American horror drama based on a book.
Okay.
And it's dark, so it might not be for everybody. I don't know, Steve, if you're going to be into it, but I think Craig, I think you're going to love it.
What's that supposed to mean? I get it.
No, but yeah, that's where I'm at. Finishing up Umbrella season. Umbrella Academy. I got 2 episodes left.
Oh, buddy.
Yep.
Seth, what are you watching?
Well, actually, I went back and watched the first 5 American Horror Stories again recently. What a nerd. So that's pretty much it. I'm going to start Steve's pick from last week, the video game documentary. What's that? High Score. Yeah, I'm going to start that tonight when I get home. So
there's that. And I think Candyman, the original Candyman, still on Netflix.
What's the best? What's the best season? Okay, so I watched maybe the first when it first came out, American Horror Story. There was this one episode that had kind of this little special needs girl that was scary as shit. This little girl, I don't remember what it was. I think it was the first season. They're in some fucked up house.
Yeah, murder house.
I guess.
Yeah, because they have the same characters.
It shook me. Oh, they do.
Yeah, so that
it shook me to my core so much that I'm like, I used to really like horror movies, but I don't mind being scared, but man, I don't like shit that fucking sticks on my bones, man. And this fucking show, it was just stuck to me for a week. I'm like, I couldn't shake this fucking image that took place.
The imagery is great in American Horror Story.
There's some dark, twisted
I did not
shit.
expect that when it first came out and I watched it. I'm like, this is pretty fucking gnarly. And to answer your question, Asylum, the second season, that's by far my favorite, I think. It's just freaky. The evil nuns and the mad scientist and the guy who's accused of murdering his wife.
Is there one that's
but
the
he
carnival?
thinks Freak Show, that's season 4. That's probably my second favorite.
Is this one season tell similar stories or
they're all just different.
So
everything's got a theme to it. You got Murder House is the first one, Asylum second, Coven, the Witches Coven, that's third. Freak Show would be fourth, Hotel's fifth, and then I'll tell you.
Is it on Netflix?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then 1984 was season 9, and it was supposed to be a 80s horror movie, all of them, all the cliche 80s stuff. I was really stoked for that one, and it was just a snooze fest.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't. You can skip that one. You can skip Apocalypse too. That was terrible.
Right on. My pick's pretty lame this week, bud.
Oh, I didn't put the M logos on there.
I'll add them real quick. I'll handle it. So I was watching. You might have to see that screen over there, though. I got this. I don't even know if it's a guilty pleasure. I'm into car restoration shows and things like that, man. It's just always kind of fun to see something go from, just a total rust box to a finished, awesome show quality car. And so the 3rd season of Rust Valley Restorers came out, and it's they're not building the highest end cars in the world, but they are just this lovable group of Canadians from up in the Rust Valley in British Columbia. And there's some awesome little imagery there, as far as just looking out over whatever Banff Lake and just the
it's
mountains
so cool.
and everything.
And so many cars just hidden in the woods.
This is just
Alaska.
a misfit group. Yeah, BC. They're just a misfit group of dudes.
Dude, it's not as good as that other car show.
It's actually they don't make as nice of cars as from Rust to Riches. Yeah, no, they don't. Car Masters, the Gotham Garage, they don't make this. It's a different.
No, that show sucks.
It's a different ball game.
But it's got one bright, shiny light of it.
She's a great Instagram follow.
Good Lord Almighty. But the dude he's pretty cool.
No, the whole show's. I mean, I like both shows.
His
but anyway.
dad was a big deal in Alaska. wasn't he?
Yeah. You're talking about Rust Valley Restorers, yeah. So
Isn't that your
it's
pick?
kind of interesting. It is, yeah. But you were talking.
You are
about,
a dork.
You were talking about fucking Car Masters, Rust to Riches, and then you
Rust Valley Restorers.
Yeah, Rust Valley Restorers.
Rust Masters.
Anyway, it's a quick 6 episodes. They do some
You
fun
couldn't.
stuff.
You didn't watch anything else.
The only other thing I watched was.
In the Rust Valley Restorers.
That's pretty much it. I watched. I did. I watched. No, I don't know.
How did Missy like Lord of the Rings?
She fucking loved it, man. Like,
Really?
She's only human. Like, it's the fucking greatest story ever told. Who? I don't know. He says overrated, I think.
Do you like Lord of the Rings, Seth?
No, I didn't really get into it. No, I've watched I think I've seen all 3 of them. Actually, yeah, I've seen all 3 of them. The battle and the very final third one, that was worth the watch, but you can skip the first 8 hours.
She did watch. She did watch the extended versions of all 3 of them. So the last movie, Return of the King, is 4 hours and 28 minutes and like 17 seconds, dude. So
is that the bonus footage?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it's like an extra hour of content.
The boner footage.
So she watched all of that. We're still going.
Nailed it.
I'm trying to get her in on the. I still got to get her to watch Midnight Gospel, but I think we're gonna do V for Vendetta if I can get home at a decent time tonight. I've seen it, but it's right up her alley. I'll tell you what else I started.
Thank you.
It's no better.
Never mind.
Cobra Kai.
Oh yeah, how is that?
It's fine.
Is it?
It's fine. Whatever. I mean, it's nostalgia.
I didn't really like Karate Kid.
I mean, it's fine.
Ralph Macchio can.
Ralph Macchio's kind of the dickhole in this
I know.
one.
He always was the
yeah,
dickhole.
and so,
I didn't feel sorry for him.
they tie it in. It's like Johnny's like he all grown up. He
guy.
drives a fucking trashed out fucking Firebird. Still listens to 80s music. Lives in a shit box.
It's a good idea though.
It's fine.
Yeah.
It's fine. Like they didn't have to reinvent the wheel. Like it was. There's a kid that lives in his shitty apartment complex, getting the shit kicked out of him.
Then he puts together like a team.
And he beats the fuck out of these kids that are kicking this other kid's ass, and then
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, and then I know it's like the cops come and tase the piss out of him or something, and then he fucking has to go get his. It's a whole fucking thing, and so his fucking Danny LaRusso has like a car dealership now. He's like he's fucking John Bonsai slashing the prices.
Yeah.
It's so fucking. You want to kick him in his fucking face. Every one of the
This is the most graphic fucking.
Yeah, every one of the customers that come there, they get a free bonsai tree with the purchase of a car, whatever. And then then Johnny's like, fuck it, he's starting up fucking
I was
Cobra
jealous
Kai
of
again.
Ralph Macchio. I don't like him.
He so he starts up the Cobra Kai dojo again, and it's fine.
That was no better.
It was fine.
Last Shaman, that's what you want to watch.
Definitely, 100%. I would definitely recommend The Last Shaman over that. I'd probably watch an art documentary or two.
Yeah,
actually, I did. I did watch an art documentary. But while I'm telling you about the art documentary, I want to remind you guys that today is the last day to go to HoosierSophisticate.com. Click on the Native Hemp
that
Extract
when we're
tab.
at the end of the show.
If you enter the code HOSO, you can get a bottle shipped to your door for less than $50.
Shit to your door.
Shit right on your doorstep. Dennison will come and shit on your doorstep.
He'll plug it all the way there, and then he'll come there and he'll shit it out on your doorstep for $50.
Yeah, $50. No big deal.
$50.
No big deal.
You might want to replace the dropper.
Not a bad call.
I don't know.
Oh,
he bags it. He puts it in a bag.
That was the better show.
He puts it in a Ziploc bag.
That was the better show. I should have talked about it. I
his
totally
butt.
forgot I went on Prime this week. I don't know what the hell I was thinking,
Hey,
pal.
call 314-961-4800.
If you need insurance from the
Fantastical.
best gosh
Look at those
damn
eyes.
insurance
His
agent there
face is
ever
way
was.
bigger than
Dude,
ours.
CJ said, he goes, man, James Carlton has dreamy eyes.
we said that before.
We try to tell people. I started The Expanse.
So how many picks you got this week?
40. I started The Expanse. I did watch an art documentary, but I can't find it. Anyway, I watched The Expanse, and it's like kind of it's a new sci-fi take. It's pretty.
You're really going to go into this one too?
Yeah, I'm gonna fucking tell you all of them because I'll forget them next week too. I'll figure out something better by then. Guys, enter code HOSO at checkout. Get your fucking bottle of hemp extract. Just do it.
Oh.
Spanish Society Outreach. That's just where we go to fucking live our
we have
best
the best
case lives.
time.
That's just where we just go to the Spanish Society and we're like, hey, is there a place where I can pack 45 of my friends in here for a super spreader event and tell them how much I love them?
Yeah.
We played Suck and Blow.
It was the best.
That was so awesome.
It was the best.
So we played it with
how you play that is the first person takes a big drink and then they have to spit it into the mouth of the person next to them and that person, and then whoever can fill the most in a cup at the end of the 2 lines.
You used a drink?
As far as they know.
It came from a cup.
ICUP.
Guys, that's the show. We put a lot of work into it.
We actually did. I know you can't believe it, but we kind of did, and we put a little bit of work into it. Hopefully, you were entertained for a couple hours. Certainly, that's not
loved it.
Good. That's a light. I thought that was my ashy ass elbow. I was like, God damn!
That's my knees. Why are you looking at your elbow?
Give me some lotion. Leroy the Bass. Bass with arms. There's a whole skit we got, guys.
Guys, what do you see for next week, Craig? Looking through the crystal ball. What do you see?
A lot of tomfuckery.
God dang it, man.
Oops.
Guys, Hoosier Sophisticate. Check us out next Monday, same place, same time.
Same Hoosier. This is not the right mouse.
I got it. What are you doing?
Hey, what are you doing, guy? You put a whole fucking thing in there. Let them go. Tell them it's the end of the show and then play the fucking things.